We are solid. Yeah. You want to explain? I'll explain what the fuck happened. So I bought a really cheap ass fucking camera, like $100 on Amazon, and I thought it was gonna be like really fancy. I mean, better than my phone quality, but it turned out to be that it actually fucking sucks really bad. So then the camera died. Like last episode, my friend called my phone, and pretty much ruined all the film. So this time, the camera, like I guess I didn't test the camera before that. I should have. I plugged it. It died. So then I plugged it into the computer because I wanted to see like what the quality was. So sad. Something always happens, but you know what?
It's fun.
That's what happens.
We didn't enter a new reality where everything's high def and I could switch to outfits in like a millisecond.
Yeah. So like now I'm more pixelated and more. See me? Can you see more pixelated? High def, right? I can see you more high def now
It's definitely
with the new
high
camera.
def. No, yeah, it's hot. I took my jacket off. It's getting a little bit too heated.
All right. So what the fuck were we talking about before? Oh,
forget where
old
we-
wrinkly white people who were trying to.
Oh, that actually might be where we ended off.
Yeah. Was it?
Well, yeah. So I guess the point.
Now with the new high def.
No.
Boom. So much better.
It is a problem because obviously we're not represented. People our age aren't represented. Even like people 40, 50 aren't represented. The average age of Congress right now, I think, is like 60 something. So someone like AOC getting elected is like, wow, she's so young.
Yeah.
And in reality, those are the folks who really should be out and about, making sure they're running for office, getting involved, actually voting. We need folks who are, know how Facebook works, because Mark Zuckerberg went in front of like 8 senile senators, and they had no
fucking clue. Yeah.
And they need to know this stuff because Facebook is essentially destroying American democracy. If you had folks,
How?
Same thing. Bubbles getting caught in you're fed what you want to see.
Okay.
That's how Facebook.
Oh, so it's like if you watch a bunch of shit, like it's an algorithm.
Yeah,
right.
That's how all this stuff works. It's all algorithms.
Yeah.
And so, but the problem with Facebook is that it's become hyper politicized. It's not. From the get go, it's problematic. Mark Zuckerberg is just a horrible person. But now it's basically really, really done the work that. I'm trying to think of that. I guess recruiters would be the term for like extremist groups. Like usually there'd be a guy who would go to something where like maybe someone that was interested in this type of stuff would be, and they'd be like, "Hey, I know you like this, but you might like this."
Yeah.
Extremist, whatever, but political.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, you could just join a group.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's like
And
a click away, and then all that
you're in
information
it.
is being fed to you.
It knows what you like. If you like one Trump video, you're gonna get a million Trump videos, and that's the only source you're gonna get.
Ooh.
That's how you get locked in. And so Facebook it's just like Twitter, Instagram. It's all very engineered.
Now going back to when I was telling you how people who get swifted or persuaded so easily where they want to belong to like a party and stuff like that, and they just make that switch because again it's easy for them because they're not their own person. You know what I noticed? And coming back to the closet racist topic, so. I have a not step uncle anymore because my mom and my stepdad separated a long time ago. But this fucker, like when I came to this country, sorry, I didn't mean to say fucker, but he's a fucker. Anyway, you could just tell the guy was just a fucking racist, right? But he never like mentioned it. He never like was open
Just
to it.
exuded it.
But this fucker now on Facebook is like far right, like fucking almost like white supremacist, like close. I wouldn't say he's there yet. But I'm sure he's gonna make the transition. One day he's gonna come up with the fucking like the whole suit and everything, and he's gonna say white power. But anyway, it's crazy. Again, touching back to that whole closet racism that's been going on for a long time now. Because I thought it was recent. But
No, it's always been. I mean, and it's kind of like jaded. It's a difficult thing because there's a lot of complex issues with it.
Yeah.
So you look at something like abolitionists, right? Civil War era, trying to get rid of slavery. You would imagine they would be non-racist, right?
Yeah. No, really.
A lot of them are like, we want them to be free, but we don't want them to like
be equal as us.
be equal.
Yeah,
we don't want them to work with us. We don't want them to live with us. We don't want them to talk to us.
Yeah.
They just saw slavery as an affront to like, if they were Christian, to God. But
like a moral thing, like I did my good deed.
It's just way too out there for us to ever accept it.
Yeah.
Then there were abolitionists who were violent, like vehemently, like anti-racist. Like there were people back then who would make people today look pretty mellow.
Really?
Like we need. Like, it was I think Thaddeus Stevens. I apologize if I'm getting the late representative's name wrong.
Yeah.
He was one of the quote unquote radical Republicans, the progressive wing of the Republican Party during the Civil War. who was calling for full equality, suffrage for Black Americans once they were freed, equality under the law in the sense that they can get jobs.
Not to cut you off. Suffrage is the right to vote, right?
Suffrage is the right to vote.
Gotcha. Because
Yeah.
I always
Just
was
the
like,
inherent right to vote.
wait, suffrage.
It's a weird
like,
name,
they're
right?
in
Yeah, it's
pain,
like,
what the fuck?
Is it a
Okay,
band?
got it. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah, when growing up,
women's
suffrage, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Are they like mad? It's like, no,
yeah.
it just means voting.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know the history of that word. I'm gonna look that up tonight.
Yeah,
I'm surprised I never like how we got to that word.
Yeah,
But whatever.
I'm gonna look it up after I watch some.
Watch 13.
13. That's what I was gonna watch. Yeah.
If you haven't, like, to me, that's so pivotal to understand how we got to where we are.
Yeah.
Like, just base and to understand like the Black Lives Matter movement. I think that's a huge, like, if you're kind of confused, you think like, but we got rid of so much racism.
Yeah. So
and
now
stuff like that's the best way to find out.
now this point popped in my head. So who the fuck is going out there and rioting and doing all that shit? Is it people?
It's a hodgepodge of people. Yeah,
Is it
I
like,
can talk about
are they part of Black Lives Matter? Like, is it some of them that are just like really like, just want to like capitalize on that?
There's folks who do want to capitalize
and just be like, oh, I'm gonna fucking just steal like a TV from Target.
I'll try and be as, I guess, wide as possible because
Yeah.
it's a lot of folks.
Yeah,
It's
I
not,
feel like
it's
this.
not
It's
one
like
facet.
a melting
Yeah.
pot of just bullshit.
So a lot of the initial riots that happened, at least following George Floyd, just I'm going to use that as like a little vacuum, just that specific wave of protest, which would have been late May, early June.
Yeah.
Anytime it went violent, or at least for the most part when it went violent, forgetting looting, like looting is a separate thing. That's usually just people taking advantage of a situation. Happened with Rodney King. Looting had nothing to do with the pursuit of justice. It's just really not connected. Some people will make the argument, and it's a complicated argument. Folks in underprivileged communities see looting as retribution. Like, we can never afford this stuff. Doesn't matter anymore. It's a little bit, it kind of plays into like capitalistic mentality of like inherent wealth with things. It's weird. Separate looting. I always try to like make that clear that has nothing to do with, it has nothing to do with the movement. But you got rioters who are either right wingers who want to incite violence at left wing events to frame the left as violent.
That's what that's one of the analogies and
the
suspicions that I
FBI
had.
verified that happened.
Yeah.
That happened in Minnesota. That happened all over the place. Portland, they're very famous for doing that. It's basically like a false flag.
Yeah.
You dress up as an Antifa, and I'll go into that in a second.
Yeah.
And you throw something out a window, and you go, huh? And that guy just, for some reason, happens to run away. It's like they don't want to be a part of this when things go south. They just wanted to get it started.
Yeah.
So that's one. You have what I call like anarchist LARPers. Like, anarchy is an actual political philosophy. It's not like just free, like everything's chaos. No, anarchy is a legit idea. It's basically just no hierarchy to any type of power. It's communal ideas, thinking like that, more direct democracy type things.
Okay.
But anarchists who are really just, in my opinion, punks looking to just start crap.
Yeah.
They're usually white.
Yeah.
And they're kind of,
they're like the fucked up people in the bunch, right? They're probably the most fucked up. Like, I just want to cause chaos because I just fucking my life.
Well, yeah, but they're not separate in that sense from, I guess, like, the fascists, like right-wing white supremacists.
Yeah.
They're screwed up for believing in that and also causing violence as a means to an end.
Yeah.
The difference with that is that whatever even if their political beliefs are technically okay, like if they want an anarchist state in the sense of, no potential to turn into fascism, if they want a more direct democracy, policy, great. When you do violent acts like that, especially in the communities where these protests were happening, which was predominantly black communities, who gets the blame? Black communities.
The black people, yeah.
And so they're, in a sense, sullying the message. It's this guy. He's on YouTube.
Man,
he's so great.
It's just all fucked up.
That's what I'm talking about. It's nuance. It's muddying the water. It's making you have. It's either one or the other. It's like, no. It's a lot. There's a lot going on behind this.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss on explaining Antifa because that was brought up in the debate.
Yeah.
But I do want to just mention there's All Gas No Breaks. He's on YouTube. You ever watch him? It's like a comedy show. I guess he's potentially getting more serious as time goes on. But he popped into Portland when the protests were going on, like probably the height of the Portland protest, and he got from all different perspectives. He got like the right wingers. He got the anarchists. He got so many people.
I feel like that would be like me. Like, I'll be that type of person.
But that's a more journalistic approach. Like, you're just trying to get. Like, of course, he edits it for comedic effect. Like, it's not a great, like, journalistic source.
I mean,
There's a scene where a younger black teen is going, these white people that are just violent, that are even, like, supporting us, they are doing so much damage to us because the media is going to portray it as us.
Yeah, because they're
The
trying to
right
sell.
wing is
They're
gonna
trying to
portray
say
it
a
as
bias.
us.
Yeah, whatever.
And it muddies the water. So even if you think, like if it's like the means to an end, like you're doing it for a good cause, it's still violence, and it's getting
Yeah.
a pin on someone. There's a time, and my philosophy has always been, especially in historical context, violence is justified when there's literally no other option. If you're threatened with death, if you're threatened with violence, you have a right to defend yourself.
Yeah.
The Haitian Revolution is an example. Like, it's so convoluted with history. Slaves had every right to kill their masters because they were slaves.
Nice.
And that is justified. That is completely justified self-defense.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to keep me as an inanimate object. And if you don't free me,
I'm gonna
that's
fuck you
the
up.
consequence. Yeah. But none of this has been. There's been self-defense against police officers when police just brutalize people. That's justified. That's me going, oh my God, this guy's beating the hell out of me. I got to defend
You gotta
myself.
defend yourself, yeah.
To me, that's justified.
Yeah.
If you're getting arrested, like and somebody whams on you,
For no reason.
there's a breaking of the public trust right there, and your life is at risk.
Yeah.
There were people.
Well, that's what it is. Like, I'm always afraid. I mean, I'm always afraid to get pulled over by a cop that's having a bad day, and he's just like.
It's sad that that's even.
But
a thing you have to worry about.
but like I feel like once you're in that point, it's like a helpless. You're so helpless because
your life is in the hands of somebody else.
yeah,
which is
because
terrifying.
literally, because you do something, and like
even if it was a
violent
genuine mistake.
or whatever,
Even if it was a genuine mistake, it
but
doesn't
like
have to be
let's see, they're
inherently
like beating you, and you fucking are trying to defend yourself. They're gonna think, oh, this guy's gonna fucking
violence.
kill me or whatever, and then you just keep going.
Yeah.
Like so what are you supposed to do? Like sit there and like fucking take the beating,
That's
and
what-
just
that's
literally
what's on the
like
books right now.
almost like
Yeah.
get killed.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you do with that? What do you do in that situation?
And,
right?
and I'm not talking about like things get muddy. Like obviously there's situations where it's like theoretically the cop's life would then be at risk if someone's attacking them. Yeah, that is self-defense.
Yeah.
Justified.
Absolutely.
Justified.
Absolutely.
It's nuance.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about is like a protester who's doing nothing
Yeah.
except peacefully protesting and they get assaulted.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking defensive like punch you back. I'm talking defense going like this.
Yeah.
Some people will see that as an attack, just blocking the face and like running, even running away.
Yeah.
It's
Well, it's like if you run away, you're resisting arrest. So it's like, what the fuck do you do?
I'm trying to run away from you.
Yeah. So I'm like, what do you want me to do, man?
It's like there's an erosion of public trust. Like
Yeah.
if police is supposed to be public servants and they're protecting and serving,
Yeah.
you can't break that social contract.
Yeah.
Because there's folks, and this is just a really sad fact in the United States, who know that their chances of having a very bad interaction are based solely on the color of their skin.
Mm.
And that's the sad reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so just to get back to the protest of it, or like talking about like violence and who causes this stuff at protest,
Yeah.
the police sometimes instigated riots by being hyper aggressive. That is a fact. It was peaceful. Everybody was marching. Who cares if it was loud? It doesn't matter. They're exercising their First Amendment right.
Mm.
The police would tear gas, come in with billy clubs. That's what happened in D.C. Watch the videos when the police charged into the peaceful protesters in D.C. They punched an Australian reporter for no reason. She was like tucked in a corner away,
Yeah.
and they went right up, popped her.
Yeah. Yeah. So one thing I understand is there's like a difference, like and you mentioned is there is a difference when, and I get it from the police perspective is if somebody's a danger to you,
Mhm.
absolutely I get it. Like if you need to fucking shoot somebody because they have a gun, like or they're coming at you with like, and their intent is to hurt you, I get it. Like
That's the law for civilians in states. Of course,
exactly.
it applies to police.
Like,
yeah,
you have all the right to pull your gun out and like shoot them.
that's
But
basic
when somebody's
self-defense.
running away from you and you just shoot them in the back, that's
murder.
different.
That's murder.
Different, right?
Murder. There is no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah.
I mean this very sincerely. If a person is running away and
Yeah.
their back is to you and
Yeah.
you shoot them lethally, you murdered that person.
Yeah.
There's just the rules of engagement in war are more strict than we have for police.
Mm-hmm.
And it's again, watch 13th. It answers a lot of these problems of why it got to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And policing in general is another example of a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
People that get involved in policing, next thing you know, most of their friends are police. They're surrounded by folks who think like they do. They're trained to kind of see themselves, and this is a real thing. This is a training. I forget the person's name, but they ended up getting banned from like you can't officially come and train cops,
Mm-hmm.
but we might send our guys to see you at an auditorium type thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you're shepherds protecting the good folks, protecting the sheep, and you gotta watch out for the wolves. And obviously, who do you think the wolves are in most of these situations?
Yeah.
At no point has
That's
any of
fucked
these
up.
movements been defending literal violent criminals who are a danger to society.
Yeah.
It's defending the inherent right to be treated equally under the law,
Mm-hmm.
to be given a chance to live, to have a trial. The cops are not judge, jury, and executioner. They're supposed to get you to the court.
Yeah.
The only time violence is necessary is when someone's life is at risk. It
So
has to be
now
self-defense.
Now to counteract that is,
and that's for
like,
everything.
I like to see it from both sides. That's just me. That's just who I've always been.
But that's also how you get the full scope.
Yeah. I like to see it from like a panoramic
I try to put myself in the spot of like,
Yeah.
if you're, and this is true. I've had family in law enforcement, and this is usually their defense, and I understand it completely.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a society where there is a very real risk. If you pulled someone over, they might out of nowhere pull a gun.
Yeah.
And that's because our country's gun crazy, for one.
Oh, yeah.
And two, we don't really have a great mental health care system.
We
We
really
don't have a
don't.
lot of opportunities for people.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot more violent crime in the United States than almost any Western country. Like, that's because of our own inherent flaws. And guess who has to pay for that? Police.
Yeah.
So they're terrified. Rightfully so.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where you get that other perspective.
Yeah. Another thing that I wanted to touch base on is, again, trying to see it from both sides is, I get that people like take their phone out to record, right?
Yeah.
It's
their right.
When a police, it's their right. But the one thing that like grinds my gear are the overly people who are just like
screaming like, this is why you done
that. I'm like, okay, if that's gonna end up you getting shot, then it's your fucking fault, dude.
Oh, okay. If somebody gets shot for
I mean,
filming,
that's
another
what.
problem.
But that
if they get brutalized for filming, that's another problem.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like if they get like film, but what I mean, I don't mean
Can't
it like
attack
I don't
them.
mean like somebody's filming and the cops is like, yeah, get your phone. Like you can't do that. No. I understand that. Like
You mean getting in their face?
it's
and
when
stuff
they
like
get in
that.
their face and stuff. You almost like pissing the cop off. One, and two, you're like. It's almost like you put one and one together. You're gonna get violence in the end. You know what I mean?
There's a part of this that's important to realize is that they are public servants.
Yeah.
So they have a higher responsibility than other people, than average people. Everybody should behave a certain way, as in not being a horrible human being.
Yeah.
But if a cop's dealing with a guy who's just an ass,
Yeah.
they have a higher expectation to not
Yeah, like a high standard.
counteract.
Yeah.
To go, I'm above this. Literally, it's my job to be. I'm supposed to keep the peace. There's a very real difference between just being a jerk, like just getting in someone's face. They're not doing any. Like a lot of times they're like libertarian, like oh you're. Sometimes it's legit and they're just bad at presenting it. Other times they're literally it's like reverse entrapment, like clearly like trying to get them to do something. That's bull crap.
Yeah.
But when someone is or witnessing something, like imagine nobody filmed what happened to George Floyd.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That is inherently necessary for a just society for that type of thing to be documented. But they usually get arrested, the people that document cops. The cops will basically, like, they make it clear. You filmed us doing something bad, and now you're in trouble. And that's basically a veiled threat to everybody. You should see what they did to journalists, like across. And this was state to state. This wasn't just one department. This was across the country, and it's the most disappointing thing. Because at the end of the day, and I think a lot of people have this problem getting the problem, right? There are plenty of cops who got involved in being police for very good reasons. They might have wanted to help their community. They might have just wanted a decent paycheck. I mean, that's a lot of people. That's why people join the military. Or they could be like paragons of virtue, like in every single way. They're like genuinely great people. The way the system is built, though, doesn't reward them. It rewards those bad apples. The phrase that they never finish is bad apples spoil the bunch.
Yeah.
You don't just take them out of the carton and throw them. It's like, no, they spoiled everything.
Yeah. But I feel like that's for like every group of
Every
society.
single thing ever.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like they just pinpoint the bad ones and they hyper focus.
But the difference is this is a state institution.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Chris Rock made a great joke. It's like, imagine an airline told you there's a few bad apples in their pilots. If one pilot is crashing into a mountain, that's too many.
Yeah.
The same thing with police.
Yeah.
Their job is to protect. I mean, granted, this is like, if you want to look into it, I think it's Warren versus DC. It's a court case. It's so sad. It basically set a standard that police are not meant to protect individuals. Like that's not their job. Your life is not relevant to their concerns. It's property and the general welfare. Usually that means private property, things like that. That's their responsibility. The whole serve and protect thing is more of just it's like a motto. It's like an advertising thing. It's really not their job.
Yeah.
I think the Black Lives Matter movement and in general progressive ideas and shifting society to where it should be, not where it is that we need some form of peacekeepers, right? It's a simple concept. There's people who
Yeah.
are always going to be doing horrible things, and we can't just go, oh, what's going to happen?
Yeah, it's like, oh,
that's
sorry.
chaos.
Sorry.
But the way it's set up is that they're not really even doing anything about that. I mean, if you get robbed, and most of the time they're just going to take a report. There's really nothing going on. And I'm like working on an article too about like the whole concept of defunding the police. The problem is that police have been given the task of handling every one of society's ails.
Yeah.
Homelessness, poverty, mental illness problems at home, domestic abuse, everything. They are so overburdened, and they kind of have to look at like it's a hammer looking at every issue like a nail. Well, other times, you got to be delicate. That's where someone like substance abuse, someone's abusing substances, their family calls and like, we need to get our son, daughter help. A cop with a gun showing up who's been trained to kind of see things as very combat focused has not received the training needed to handle that situation. And that's not even entirely the fault of their own.
No.
It's the process in which we look at policing. And I know Biden said, which is a much better, we're talking about like advertising wise, reimagining policing is not only making society safer, but it's making the job of police safer.
Yeah.
And that's what I mentioned.
It really is. Like if you have like a cop who's trained into like de-escalating situations, it could definitely, bring up that safety standard. You know what I mean?
Because
and it's not about
if they escalate, they might be the ones who end up getting hurt the most.
Yeah.
And that's across the board. Like you said, this is emblematic of a lot of different issues in society.
Yeah.
But it's the way, and that's what it's like. It's not even attacking like again. There might be like literally a police officer, whatever. It's the system.
Yeah.
It's the way it's taught. It's the way we approach it.
Yeah.
It's police unions who have no interest in holding folks accountable, who are becoming hyper politicized. That's where this anger stems from, and that's why it's an issue that needs to be addressed because it's at the core of everything going on right now. It's a pervasive issue that it hits a lot of notes, and it's tragic to an extent.
Yeah. I mean, what the fuck was I gonna say? Oh, I think also the whole issue is like, for example, somebody calls 911. We have this analogy, and I think everybody has this analogy and this like assumption of cops is they have guns, they could kill me, right? I mean, when you call the police, it's usually when somebody with something bad is going on, that's when you call the police. So I feel like that and that idea, that's what also plays in people's minds, and that's why we have so many fucked up things that happen. And I don't believe in the whole bullshit that when Trump says we're gonna fucking defund the police, blah 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 blah. I think it's a good idea to allocate funding to, for example, mental train cops more into train them into de-escalate situations. You know what I mean? They don't have to become fucking psychologists and psychiatrists, but at least give them like a course. Like I made this this analogy, and this I compared it to like nurses and doctors, especially in the ER. They're trained extensively to handle unstable people in stable environments, because the hospital is a fairly stable place in terms of somebody's probably most likely not going to take a gun out and try to shoot you, right?
I would hope if they were in gowns and in a hospital,
that's what I mean. They're
clear.
When somebody and me coming from a medical background, when somebody is having like an issue or they're acting a certain way, we pick up on that and we know how to de-escalate the situation,
because
right?
you're trained to do so.
Yeah. So I think cops should have that training, where, I mean, but it's kind of like a touchy subject, because at the same time is like, I'm not worried for my life when somebody is acting up. I mean, that's the least of my worries. Yeah, that's right. Like if I see, like, for example, if I was working in the ER, I mean, things could get violent. I've heard stories of nurses getting pretty beaten up by like just a random guy who just has like a psychotic breakdown and starts beating the crap out of them. But it's more controlled, I would say, right? So I think 100% there should be like an allocation of funding more, towards the mental health aspect of that. You know what I mean?
Huge proponent, yeah.
That's huge. It's huge, because I feel like in the United States, there's so many fucking crazy. Like I want to say crazy. I want to say crazy people, but like, there's so many like mentally ill people in the United States. You know, like coming from a third world country like Colombia, you could like over there, you could tell who is the person who's like a little off. You could just tell, right?
Yeah.
Here it's almost like you can't. Like a lot of people, and I'm not talking just about like depression, anxiety, and stuff like that, because I feel like people, you can't read that on somebody. But somebody who like a sociopath and stuff like that, you could almost like over there, like you know who's the crazy one in the neighborhood, and it's all about like community, obviously. So,
well, and especially, I mean, probably most other than Western democracies tend to focus on a collectivist type mentality.
Yeah.
Like it's much more community focused.
Yeah.
While America and a lot of the Western democracies are individualistic.
yeah,
Which I think plays into it.
mm-hmm.
Seeking help is seen as a bad thing.
yeah.
Because Americans are strong and tough and we forge our own
Yeah, I
way.
hate that fucking bullshit. Like, I hate when people say like America is still the great. I don't say it. I hate it because I'm unpatriotic. I hate it because we're not. We're
By
not the
any
greatest.
metric.
And I say it not because I hate America.
No.
I
love
say
this.
it.
It's my country.
Yeah,
It's my
I
home
say
country.
it because we could do so much better.
Yeah, I've always said, and that's usually my defense. Now it's harder because of what we're dealing with Trump and stuff. But it's our potential is what makes us the greatest. It's the possibility of what we can become.
Yeah.
But it's always been inherently flawed. Like I've mentioned, wealth inequality has always been in the blueprints. Racism is ingrained in our soul based on the founding documents. It's a very tough process to overcome that. And I think other countries have, for a variety of factors, European countries have surpassed us leaps and bounds by progress, like socialized healthcare, which to them is common sense. Like you ever see videos like we show a European a bill for the ambulance, and they're like,
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
that makes that it doesn't connect because
Yeah.
it's like that's a
It's like a
public
foreign,
good.
it's like a foreign thing
It's a
to them.
right. That's like
Yeah.
imagine me denying you oxygen. It's
Yeah.
like to that extent. It's like
Yeah,
now you got to
yeah.
pay for oxygen.
Yeah.
So that's also how it ties into if we're talking like training, right? I'm interested to see. I mean, because no matter what, this is going to have to progress, or we're just going to collapse. Because there's no way to not tackle this issue. Either across the board, you got to fund mental health care. Like we shut down mental health facilities across the state, and we kind of just left it to police to handle it.
Yeah.
We have to invest in things that will prevent a lot of these crimes from ever happening in the first place. That means investing in mental health care. So people at a young age who are like, oh, I'm having trouble. They're not going to just grow up and then collapse because they have no support.
Yeah.
They're going to get it at the age that they need it, and as a human right.
Yeah.
You got to fund the communities that need it. You gotta invest, and you can't let wealth become. And that's again, it all really does tie back to money. It always is.
Oh, really? Yeah.
The communities that are well established, well entrenched, rich, they never have these problems. Why? Because there's never a possibility of you falling through the cracks.
Yeah.
If you do, it's like an odd. It's like, oh, geez,
Yeah, it's like that fucking weirdo who just went up and fucking shot up like
he
20
got
people.
To drugs.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
nothing like us.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
everybody has the same capability
Yeah.
to fall
Yeah.
and to suffer and to end up in a hole.
Yeah.
But we don't all have the ability to have the people to pull us out.
Yeah. Support.
And that's where you get all this stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
And either we can make, I think it'd be better to like really expand how we approach it in general, not just make the police like Inspector Gadget, like I'm trained in mental health and everything. Like,
I'm
it's
a fucking psychiatrist. I'm here to help you.
Police are meant to handle intense, violent situations.
Yeah.
That's when they could, and obviously it would be a much more hyper-focused mentality of like, oh God, like this is a situation which requires your skill set.
Yeah.
And of course, this is past like, obviously racial bias training and things like that. I'm talking of like, oh, that's fixed, and we're just talking about the function of policing. They're peacekeepers. That's the job. You gotta have some type of, if someone calls and they're like, my son is just having a mental episode, there's got to be someone there that is specifically trained to handle
Yeah, because
that.
again, it goes back to the whole notion that even if somebody has like mental illness and stuff like that, it goes back to the whole notion that when they call the police, I feel like people automatically feel threatened.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Because
so that just
people, it's the only
automatically,
option.
yeah, that automatically
else are they gonna
that
call?
just makes the situation just much worse.
And I'm going to imagine someone that's having either whatever the hell it could be. It could be
Yeah.
anything ranging from slight anxiety to paranoid schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Right now, how police operate does not instill a lot of trust.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not calmed down. You're like, oh, the police are here.
Yeah.
So there's that side of it too. And again, it's a very complex approach. There's a lot of stuff that needs to get fixed regarding accountability with policing, approaching to policing, internal policies, requirements to even be an officer. Like, there's so much that goes into this work. It's not literally just take away their money, which is what Republicans and conservatives try to frame it as. It's like, no.
Yeah.
It's basically trying to make their job a lot easier by making society a lot better. Yeah, right there, it's like look at RoboCop. If you like that horrible cyberpunk futuristic mentality of what the world could look like, that's what happens when the right wing controls this type of stuff. They'll privatize police. You got to pay $50 a month if you want to call 911 or something crazy like that. You really got to approach it from a holistic. What is their function in society? What they're public servants. They're paid by taxpayer money. Yeah. But they function as like an entirely different approach. Like, they are in a lot of ways above the law. And we're seeing that every single day, and it's being highlighted. And just because, I mean, there's folks who benefit off of it not being highlighted. Those are the folks who should never have been in those positions, and they need to be removed immediately. Yeah. It's a situation. Camden, New Jersey literally just fired and just like dismantled their entire police department and started from scratch. And it turned out to be the best move they ever made. Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like now that you mentioned the whole dismantling, I feel like a lot of people don't agree with that because they don't know.
Most people want police,
because they don't know what the fuck it is. They don't know what's the process of
they
what's
think
happening.
It just means there's no
cops. Like no fucking police. And I'm like,
no.
How about like you read something, pick up go on an article.
That would require me to have an interest in things that don't directly appeal to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to spend time learning about things when
That's
I can
what's
just
wrong.
coast.
That's what's wrong with the United States, man. What the fuck?
It's a problem. And that goes. I mean, God, it's amazing. None of this is singular. None of this is like you can pinpoint it. Yeah. It's all connected. This goes back to our education in the United States. People aren't taught to critically think. You see something and you're like, okay. I guarantee you, people like what did Thomas Jefferson? Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. That's all they know about him. If you learn about Thomas Jefferson, specifically what he did as a slave owner, you start to get a much different approach to like, what were these documents written for? Who were they written for? Was this ever a democracy like we were told it was? Yeah. Obviously the people that want to keep things the way they are don't want you to have that kind of foresight.
Yeah. You think it's in school too? Like they're trying to do that in school? Because like obviously we went through school.
Texas just voted to like completely strip American history of literal history.
You know what also pisses me off is like
insane.
It's again, I'm a middle guy because I want to make that clear. I'm not I don't want to lose followers because I love this podcast and I don't want to lose my subscribers because I'm a sellout. But anyway, the whole cancel culture thing, like people are like pissing their panties because people are like, I'm not watching NFL anymore because the fucking Black Anthem. I'm like, dude. And then they're like, oh, you're a snowflake because you are not a patriot. I'm like, you're the biggest fucking snowflake, you pussy.
To me, it's also like, it's ironic on 2 points. Like, conservatives cancel culture just as much as like with the left. It's like the left. It's like, no, the minute anybody says anything anti-police, anti-Trump, anti-Republican, just boycott. What did they do with Kaepernick? They burned Nikes. They bought Nikes. They gave Nike money, and then they burned them. Yeah. And so guess what they're gonna have to buy soon? Another pair of Nikes. Yeah. So bad
That's such a
cancel
stupid
culture.
thing to do. Like you just paid $100.
Yeah. There's a very real difference between, if we're gonna be very simplistic about it, let's just call it a left-right issue, which it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
But I'm a middle guy because I'm a sellout and I don't want to lose followers. So yeah.
There's a difference between a boycott, like Goya, when Goya, the guy who like runs Goya, is like pro-Trump. Everybody has a right to go, oh, okay, I'm not gonna support your business. That's horrible. You're supporting a white supremacist. I'm not gonna buy your beans. That's a form of financial protest. That's like, honestly, especially how we're laid out right now, how working people can voice their opinion. I'm not giving you my money. Yeah. It's a lot different from like if somebody just says something that's like, even if it's like slightly controversial and people like asking for their head, that can be a problem. Yeah. But a lot of the times, and this is where like the whole problem with like alt-right white supremacists come in, they try to equate it with like, there was a guy named Milo who's very, very popular among alt-right. He was openly gay, but he was very, very racist, very alt-right. I'm pretty sure he was super anti-trans too. He was like a horrible human being.
That doesn't really make sense. Money, huh?
Sorry, folks. It's true. But anyway, so There was a time where he got like people. It might have been
What
like
a fucking
Berkeley or
bitch.
like one of the famous like uber liberal colleges.
Yeah.
They protested him going there, which they have a right to do, and demanded that their school didn't host him. They're voicing their opinion. The school said, and canceled him. My opinion why that was totally valid. The guy like targeted a trans student at one of the schools he visited. Put their picture up. That's a threat.
Yeah.
So like that's the perfect example of that is 100% valid to go. No, you don't have a right to voice that opinion because you're putting people's lives at risk.
Yeah.
It's a lot different than like if people have different opinions. I mean, like, we're talking about economics. You might think regulations need to come off. I'll be like, I think regulations need to go on. I'm not going to go. This man needs to be removed and eviscerated on social media.
Fucking love capitalism.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
But they try to make it seem like it's the same thing. It's like most of the time, if somebody did something hyper problematic, you got to expect a public outcry.
Yeah.
If it's
Absolutely.
if it's hypocritical though, it's kind of bullcrap. I mean, like how many Hollywood celebrities were chastising Kevin Spacey and Harvey Weinstein, but they were clapping for Roman Polanski like 2 years before that. Roman Polanski raped the woman and is hiding in France to avoid law in the United States. Hypocrisy.
Yeah.
That is okay to call out. But you have to realize a lot of these opinions that are getting canceled are like hyper problematic. And it's more of just people calling it out. Like, it doesn't matter if a bunch of people tell you to stop saying something on Twitter. You can keep doing it.
Yeah.
And Twitter has every right to suspend your account. It's a private company. That's called capitalism.
Yeah. I love it.
But there's a difference between spewing bullcrap
Yeah.
and having people call you out on it and being censored. The only thing the First Amendment applies to is the government. The government cannot stymie your voice. They can't. A public or a private company can do whatever the hell they want, and that they're trying to frame it as if the left is utilizing the government to censor people. It's a lot more complicated than that. It's a lot more complicated. Yeah. Oh, see, all this is just it's a mess, but it's so much easier and so much more fun to just go. I hate Democrat. I hate Republican.
Yeah, it is. I I agree with you in that one. It is. It's It's very easy to just pick a side and just go with it, and just not just to pick a side and go with it. Just pick a side and go with it blindly.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh,
like,
fuck Biden, fuck Trump, fucking.
There's even folks that's like, it's bewildering. It's like they don't even like know anything about Trump. And it's just like Republicans, like, I'm a Republican, I'm conservative. It's like, what does that mean? And they don't really have an answer.
Yeah.
And same thing with liberals. It's like,
Yeah.
do you know what liberal means?
Yeah.
Do you know what leftist?
That's interesting
like,
because like I know a lot of people, right,
and then center stuff.
who like either hate Trump or hate Biden, and I'm like, why do you hate them? And they just come up with like a generic spew answer that the media just said. Oh, because Biden is being a communist. Oh, I mean, socialist communist. I'm like, okay, that's
Biden is so
but then
far away
on
from
the other
communist,
side,
yeah.
I mean, you might agree with what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
But on the other side, some of it is true. I mean, I think some of it is true, but that's just my opinion. On the other side, you have, I fucking hate Trump. I'm like, why? Oh, he's a white supremacist, loving,
The difference between those two, and it's almost a false equivalency, is we have documentation.
Yeah.
We have lawsuits. We have public comments that came out of his own mouth that make him a white supremacist.
Yeah.
We didn't just assign it to him like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, Trump's a white supremacist. Blah, out of nowhere. The dude got
But
sued by the Nixon
but
administration.
you notice how but now you see how people go into it blindly. That's what I mean.
Because they don't like what I'm trying to emphasize, and this is across the board. Anybody, if you're a leftist, and if someone on your side says something that is like factually,
because we like teams over here.
Call them out, because no matter what, getting the truth out is going to move us forward. The truth always pushes in the direction of progress.
Yeah.
You can't hoodwink people forever. I always quote, it's like Abraham Lincoln. You can fool some. I'm gonna mess it up. It usually should be easy to get off, but it's like you can fool some people all the time. Whatever.
Well, you
can't
fool
fool all the people all the time.
Yeah,
you can't just hoodwink everybody.
Yeah.
And that's where we get the problem. It's like you can't. It's a false equivalency. Like I can demonstrate that Trump is a racist very easily. I can dispel the idea that Biden's a socialist because socialists don't like Biden because he's not a socialist.
Yeah.
All of his policies are not socialist. And it's a literal facts. There's a difference between facts and opinions. Opinions are something like, I have an opinion that relaxing. I'm just using regulations because that's such an easy like policy topic,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I have seen evidence that regulations have expanded business and its opportunities and will allow economic growth.
Mm-hmm.
I can point as a policy thing like, well, there's times where regulations do expand growth, but we should look at what the cost is. Like, it might harm us in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
These are opinions that are in a sense enhanced by facts.
Mm-hmm.
An opinion that's just anything is like, I hate this person because X. I hate that color. I hate like red. I hate the color.
But
red.
that's the thing. I think
Those are irrational.
right now. What's
opinions.
going on is people are getting facts and opinion mixed up, and they're
Because
believing
everything is mixed.
Yeah, because opinions now are
Media is
facts,
all-
and facts
yeah.
are now opinions. So it's like, what the fuck do I just blame it all on the wrinkly
it's
white men?
whiplash.
What?
It's whiplash.
Yeah.
You're getting pulled in 8 different directions, and that's the thing. Like Fox has sued multiple times that they're like people like Hannity and Tucker Carlson. No one. This is their defense. No one who's watching should ever really seriously consider.
Yeah, because
them
they
a
said
source
they're
of
like
news.
commentators. They're
Yeah.
not. They're not news.
They don't say that when they're talking.
Yeah, yeah.
They present it as if
As
it's news.
Yeah.
And people who are rightfully like, this is a Fox News channel.
Yeah. They swallowed it as news. Yeah. As
That's
facts.
That's the problem. It
Yeah.
really is how information's presented and distilled to people.
Yeah.
But the onus isn't on anyone. Like there used to be a thing called the fairness doctrine. Reagan removed it. Is the idea that if like a specific political opinion, let's say it was abortion rights, if there's 30 minutes dedicated to pro-choice, you got to do 30 minutes dedicated to pro-life.
Mm-hmm.
Fairness.
Yeah,
You can't really like force a certain thing. You can't use media as a propaganda tool.
Yeah.
That's gone. Doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So it's on people individually to realize how to get information that's accurate, to look at various sources, to know which sources are not reliable. Like, it's so much like literal fake news. I'm not talking Trump, like anything that is against me is fake news. There's websites that are literally just making stuff up that are trying to push a political agenda, and they're so easy to tell, at least for maybe our generation's better at it. I know the older generations aren't because they've never had this type of crap.
Yeah.
But you gotta educate
I don't
yourself
think
because
I
no
don't
one's
think
gonna
they
do it
just
for
they
you.
didn't have it. They just didn't know how to differentiate.
Well, they had Walter
you know what I
Cronkite
mean?
at like what 5 p.m. He
Yeah.
would come on and go, American forces in Saigon, blah, 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 and that's it. Good night.
Yeah.
There wasn't a guy screaming that Obama is destroying the country
Yeah.
and he's a Muslim and all these other things. And they're like, it says news.
Yeah. So just swallow it.
And,
as
and
news.
internet's a whole different thing because
Yeah.
we grew up with that.
Yeah.
We grew up and went like, this is a fake video. This is Photoshop. This is like clearly not real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have that. We grew up with it. They don't. And that's where a lot of this stuff happens. There's times it happens. It's not just conservative, but it tends to lean more towards conservatism because I think there's more of a vitriolic approach in that. It's like, I need something to verify this. And it's a lot of like, what's that term? It's like redundant. It's like it has to keep connecting to you. It's like, yeah. Enforce me with this idea.
Yeah.
But it does affect everybody. Like you need to know when it's like, this is clearly not a well-sourced information source. Like this is a guy in his basement. This is like literally Macedonian bot farms funded by Putin.
Yeah.
Legit things.
Yeah. Well, that's what was I talking to? I was talking to somebody. I don't fucking know.
They usually have a lot of like American phrases.
It was in one of my episodes.
Flag.
It's like people are like, for example, like my racist step fucking uncle that I fucking don't like. Anyway, it's like a vicious cycle where you good?
Oh yeah, I swallowed the water.
It's like a vicious cycle where people don't even like they listen to CNN or Fox News or whatever. But then that information gets reinforced by fucking bumblefuck Jimmy in his basement, who's like putting fucking shit out on Facebook.
Yeah, it's
and
all,
it's like
all fronts.
yeah, it's like
It's
now
a-
it's
it's an
like they're
endless
just getting
barrage.
more reinforced. Because I remember at one point, like I would not even watching the news, but like I would go on Facebook and I would watch a lot of anti-Trump, a lot of like anti-conservative, to the point where I couldn't even fucking watch Fox News. Like anything that Fox News came out, I'm like, turn that fucking shit off because they're so fucking wrong.
Yeah,
And
like
then-
blatantly lying
Yeah.
at times. Yeah.
Well, again, yeah. But now, like, now that I watch some Fox News, and I'm not saying Fox News is the way or they're not lying or anything like that. It's not about like picking a side is being in the middle where I could like see it. Where okay, it makes sense what they're saying. Okay, it makes sense what they're saying. It's not me being so close where I'm like, I can't even watch anything that goes against my own like opinion.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's going on in America right now. There's people who they feel personally attacked when you disagree with them.
You've entrenched yourself in an ideology.
When you disagree with them, you feel it's like you. And I remember when we spoke the last time, is you mentioned that people, what the fuck did you say? They view politics as themselves.
Yeah,
I remember
it's
that.
projecting.
Yeah. So that's what I think with like we are right now, where even like my friends, even I fall into it, where we disagree, and I personally I'm like, fuck this bitch. Excuse my language. Sorry, Allison. But like, you know, I'm like, I feel personally attacked because it's disagreeing with me. But then I have to take a step back and I'm like, well, you know, she has a point. I have a point. Like, it's not just like, oh, like I'll call her out and be like, you just fucking racist then. And she's like, no, like blah blah blah. She's like, oh, you're a fucking leftist, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I like to be in the middle. So like that's what I'm saying. Like you mentioned, people view politics as themselves, and when you disagree with that,
it's like you're attacking me.
You're attacking like the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a, I guess a pretty important PSA. I was talking about this today because it goes back to how Trump debated.
Yeah.
It's bad faith.
Yeah. Back to the debates.
It's I'm sorry. It's just the
no because
above my head.
Like I'm trying to back to the debates because I definitely want to touch back.
It does tie into a lot. It kind of ties into everything we've talked about because they did mention everything we talked about.
Yeah.
This idea of a bad faith, I put a quote from Jean Paul Sartre. I always forget how to. It's French. I always forget how to pronounce it. Jean Paul Sartre. Sartre, very famous like existential philosopher, but he had a great quote basically about anti-Semites, which can, in fact, just Nazis, fascist, ultra right-wing type mentalities. Is that they're not arguing to win the debate. They're arguing to confuse you, to make you doubt, to make you go, and to like become non-confident, even in the face of facts. So they'll distort things. Like the fact that there's Holocaust deniers is literally one of the most bewildering things in the world. We have literally endless evidence, but what is their answer when you show them a picture? What do they say?
Wait, if there's Holocaust, what?
Imagine I'm a Holocaust denier, I'm a Nazi.
Oh yeah.
And I casually go up to you and go, "The Holocaust didn't happen." What would your first instinct?
I'd be like, fucking, I'll show you a picture of fucking.
Fake. Prove it's not fake. How do you prove it's not fake? Who took it? When?
That's just like I would be like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Because they're not. It's bad faith. They're not trying to get you to prove them wrong. They're trying to either, especially for the folks who are listening, that's the kicker. The folks who might not know anything. Let's say Raj knew a lot about like the Holocaust. It's anything, any policy.
Yeah.
It's not about winning the debate. It's about confusing the other people who are listening.
To like bring down in their heads and be like,
drag them to your level.
Fuck.
Yeah, so that's a problem. And always like, because if someone's arguing bad faith, it's usually pretty obvious. You can literally show them a fact and they're going to go, it doesn't matter. That's when you go, disengage. This person has no interest in debating, and they're only going to make me angry, and they're going to make me cold.
Yeah, they're going to get under my skin, and yeah.
There's a very real difference between, I've had so many debates with people where I was like on one side, I mean, Jake, our close friend, I love talking to Jake, because me and him it's so funny, we're like macro, very much in the same mentality, but there's like little things, just a lot of history type stuff, where we're like, just debate.
Yeah.
And we're always like, fine, to me, it's like if I was in a debate class, I would just practice with him for hours. It's amazing. We find these like perfect routes to like get to the point we're trying to make, and usually we reach a great conclusion.
Yeah.
Even if we're like, there's certain facets of it we'll never agree on, because you put two people in a room, there's like 15 different opinions, right?
Yeah.
But there's a very real difference between someone who's abusing the idea of open discussion, which is what Trump did.
Yeah.
He was never talking about his own policy. He was screaming disproven conspiracy theories to throw Biden off and to make the American people go, is that
Sleepy
true?
Joe?
Is that true?
Yeah.
Does Biden have dementia?
Yeah.
Is he wearing an earpiece?
Like a person who would like, and a person that I do my homework and I guess I like to stay informed, right?
It's the best thing you can do.
You pick up on it though. You kind of see it like from a third point of view, and you're like, this guy. It's almost like, you know what he's doing, right?
Trump.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
When he was like speaking over like everybody.
He wasn't good at hiding it. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I mean. Like
he's very bad at hiding
he was not really. I mean, Trumpy, come on, man. You
Not
gotta do a better
subtle.
job than that.
Not subtle, buddy. I think I met kindergarten
But
bullies with more
but
subtlety.
now if you see it from a Trump supporter, you would see it as
Strength.
he's trying to fight for me. He's trying to prove
He's
my point
my guy.
because I feel so important because I whatever the case fucking may be, right? Like I'm not my own person or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. That's what I'm saying. It's working with people, and it's scary.
Yeah, and that ties into, this is psychological now. This is legit science. People who tend to lean right or more conservative mindset, more authoritarian mindset, are very, very easily led because they favor authoritarianism. They want strong leadership.
Yeah.
And they're more easily, and I don't mean this in a bad way, everybody can grow, are more easily duped, tricked. And you kind of like, you start to realize it's like, how the hell can anyone who watched his performance go, he won that debate? When he didn't debate.
Yeah. Like I said, like I mentioned earlier, for a while I was like, I'm going to vote for Trump, blah, 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 blah. But after that, I was like, I mean, for a long time, I was like, I just want this fucker out of office. Like then I kind of like, again, started watching media. And then
You got influenced.
my thought process started changing. And I'm like, then it was, and you mentioned is the whole doubt thing.
Yeah.
It
Sowing
made me,
doubt.
It made me doubt like what I believed, right? What I was leaning
Even if you had
towards.
seen it with your own eyes.
Exactly. It made me believe my own self. And maybe I'm like, well, maybe he's got a point. Maybe he's he's doing good for the country. Blah 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 blah. And again, I'm not far left or far right or it's and you mentioned it's not about like being far left or
It
far
really
right.
shouldn't be.
Yeah. But for a while, like then I started being influenced by it, right? But then I started doing my research, right? I don't just like I mentioned earlier. I feel like a lot of people in this country are just picking a side and going into it blindly. I don't like to be that guy. I'm not like that. I've
Going into
never been
anything
like that.
blindly is bad.
Exactly.
Very, very
exactly. So I did my research and I started like kind of like fact checking and stuff like that. Again, the pinnacle, the point was yesterday when the debate, right? That kind of tipped things on me where I'm like, yeah, man, he fucking like.
What about it specifically pulled you out?
I was able to kind of decipher when he was interrupting. I'm like, he's doing that like purposely. Like obviously he's not doing it. I don't think he was doing that because he felt so passionate and stuff like that. It was to again cause doubt.
Yeah.
Now you mention it. I was trying to find the word for it, right? Now that you mention it, it makes sense. It was that. I could just feel it. I could just see it. I'm like, dude, like, and it makes sense. And he's doing it like he wasn't doing a good job hiding it. But if you are so engulfed in his ideologies, right?
It seems to make sense.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
You're like, he's the strong man who's fighting for me.
Strong man. Yeah, that ties into the whole concept of authoritarianism. It's you find strength in strength.
Yeah.
You don't find it in nuance and
Yeah.
rationality and thinking about things and trying to reach a conclusion with wisdom.
Yeah.
It's chest pounding type mentality.
Yeah.
And I think he overplayed his hand because that appeals to like everybody.
Yeah.
It's crappy, but it does. We like that type of it's humanistic, it's animalistic because let's be honest, we're apes. We're still apes. We're just very advanced apes.
Yeah, we're fucking apes.
We kind of always, and this is a problem I have in general with our approach to democracy too, is that we put way too much faith in the executive branch. We like someone who could just sign a big piece of paper and go, the world is gonna be better for you, kid.
Yeah.
No. The way that everything is supposed to work is that the legislative branch is supposed to be the most powerful because it represents the most Americans.
Yeah.
That's our rep. That's like, we got right now we have Lee Zeldin. Lee Zeldin's a horrible representative, but he is my rep. He represents my district.
Yeah.
Them making decisions, and it's a consensus, right?
Yeah.
You have a lot of different opinions. Like you have the left wing of the Democratic Party, you have the more center wing of the Democratic Party. You start to reach conclusions that the American public needs. Congress has failed spectacularly across the board because they have not represented America's interest.
Yeah.
But in an ideal democracy, we wouldn't be putting our faith in one person to handle everything because that's not a democracy. That's a dictatorship.
Yeah.
But there's a very real appeal. And I think a lot of people either are denying it in themselves that it is appealing no matter what. I've heard people act as if like Bernie became president, he could just sign away every single problem in the United States. Like that's not his job and he can't do that. That's not how the country works. We need to realize that direct democracy, as in just Americans across the board
Yeah.
having much more say in their government is the only way that the country can function, because right now it's a tyranny of the minority. The Republican Party has less voters, has less people registered, has barely legitimately wins elections. It's all gerrymandering or voter disenfranchisement. And remember, Trump did not win the election based on the American people's will. He won it based on the Electoral College.
So now explain to me that, because I have no. I mean, in a simplest
history lesson. I'll give a
simplest
super
terms.
simple. Yeah.
Simplest terms, like popular
it.
vote and Electoral College,
Yeah.
because I have no fucking clue about that.
When we were kids, we were told democracy means whoever gets more votes wins, right?
Yeah.
When you ran for, I don't know, if you ran for class president, you ran for prom king, prom queen, everything like that, whoever got the most votes wins.
Yeah.
In our country, because a bunch of racist white landowning slave owners were like, we got to let the South have a little bit more power than they would if it was just a popular vote, because guess what? The South has less people. Mm-hmm. Remember the whole 3/5 compromise? Slaves counted as 3/5 of a person in representation.
Oh, yeah.
So even though they couldn't vote, they had no
Some
rights.
shady shit.
The South got more representatives, so they had more power.
Mm-hmm.
The Electoral College was built to allow the slaveholding states to have more power than they ever had. And that's still what it is. It's a racist institution that still persists to this day. And not only that, like, forget if that was the historical connotation. How insulting is it that every other election in our entire society relies on a popular vote except our executive? Why?
Oh, really?
Why? What's the reason?
Yeah. I don't know.
Because that's the only way Republicans win.
Really?
And that's why it hasn't changed. The only people who have ever lost the popular vote but won the EC were Republicans. It allows them to focus on, swing states or whatever like that. And people argue, well, it gives the swing states representation. Presidents want to go there anyway. If you got rid of the EC, every single voter matters. Like, granted, let's be honest, if you got rid of the EC, there would never be a Republican as it currently stands right now.
Yeah.
Because there's more Democrats.
Yeah.
But that's democracy. My answer to that, and I think a thing most Republicans and a lot of folks that are disenfranchised would agree on, is we need a much different, we don't need a two-party system. We don't need just Democrats and Republicans. There should be a much less focus on political party machines. It should be a much more, parliamentary approach, kind of like how the Brits do it, how France does it. Lots of different parties that represent niche interests, that represent either, sometimes broad, sometimes centrist, center-left, left, center-right, right. That's the only way you're going to get proper representation, because right now it's kind of for a lot of people, it's a rock and a hard place, Democrat or Republican.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not equating them. They are not the same party. The Democratic Party has time and time again worked for the American people, not to the extent that I would like them to, but they've done it more than the Republicans have. We're just kind of locked in this endless turf war that is inherently rigged to the smaller team.
Yeah.
They oh my God. It's the depth in which the Republicans have twisted our democratic institutions to benefit them is staggering. Look at the election in Georgia.
Yeah.
Stacey Abrams versus Brian Kemp. So many votes were thrown out. The guy who was no, not the guy who was in charge was part of Kemp's team. The guy in charge of running the election was the guy who ran for governor.
What the fuck?
And that was allowed, and no questions were asked. Why? Because he was a Republican.
So, would you say everything obviously ties back to money?
Yeah, no,
right.
It's everything. Our society, an American society, and the reason racism was ingrained in our society was to prevent people with similar interests from getting together. Slaves, indentured servants, free black Americans too.
Yeah.
Instead of them all going, we're at the bottom of the totem pole, right?
Yeah.
We're getting screwed left and right. Let's just to make it simple, because obviously slavery throws a giant wrench in that concept, because nothing is equatable to African slavery in the United States.
Yeah.
Let's talk post-Civil War.
Yeah.
When free black Americans were going up north and trying to get jobs. This is a real thing that happened. It even happened during the Civil War, where there was racial conflict, especially among new immigrants, the Irish, Italians.
Yeah.
Instead of going, oh, man, we have a lot of things in common right now. We're broke as hell. We're getting abused by our employers. We're not allowed to unionize. We have no say over our jobs, and we're being worked to the bone. Why don't we collectivize, get together, and go, you don't get to do this to us anymore? But what instead happened, and this is how the country was built again from the get-go, is they whispered to one guy, let's call it, because in America now it's just
Donald
blanket white people.
Yeah. That white wrinkly dude.
You may be poor,
Yeah.
but you're not black. So you're one step above.
You know what? Yo, whoa, wait, hold on. Okay, so.
I have another good quote lined up.
Whoa, no. You just brought up a great point because I think that's a lot of like it's a huge mentality in the United States right now. I mean, it has been, and it's not like you could put a wait. Let me just lower this a tiny bit.
If my gain's too loud, please, because I'm yelling now.
No. It's just the gain. I put the gain way too much. But anyway, you could put, and I'm telling you, this I'm probably gonna be like 99.99999% right. You could put a white dude who's a crackhead, broke as fuck, just fucking rock bottom, right? Next to a black dude or a minority or whatever the case may be. And I'm not saying like this anti-white because that whole bullshit. I just
that is
whatever the case may be. Yeah. I'm not saying like, oh, fuck all the white people. Like, no,
that's
just so dumb. Yeah. I will guarantee you that white dude would be like, you know what, my life probably sucks right now, but at least I'm not that guy.
And the reason, and this is the concept that a lot of people like seem to have trouble grasping. White privilege doesn't mean that because you're white, everything is easy to you.
Yeah.
Like, I can just be rich because I'm white. No, it's the idea that you have a much better chance of doing it because you're white. Our society, when it's been, I mean, there's so many different things to list. I think my go-to, because it really does frame it quite well, you're going to have 2 resumes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's say I signed one, right? Dylan Rice.
Yeah.
And then you had another resume with let's call it just an ethnic sounding name.
Yeah.
Guess who's going to get picked even if they're equal? Like, just resumes just look pretty much identical. Hell, even if that one's a little bit better than mine.
Yeah.
I'm getting picked.
Yeah.
And
except if it was me, because I'm built different.
I'm not going to deny that. But the sad thing is,
give me that fucking job, bitch.
A lot of people assume, because it's like a white, employer.
Yeah.
Nope. All employers, when they were tested, that's how it worked out. And it's just because it's so ingrained. It's not just ingrained in white people.
It's like a DNA. Yeah. It's like a DNA thing now. Almost.
DNA would imply it's genetic. This is a societal thing.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't mean it like it's
DNA.
ingrained in their DNA, but the ideology is so ingrained.
We were told to look at things in a hierarchical way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and it's but now when you like, if you really look at it, it's almost, and I'm not saying it's in our DNA, but it's so close to it. I feel like where human beings are always looking to look down on somebody. I feel like that's a human instinct.
Yeah, that ties back to the quote. I have 2 good quotes. One's from LBJ and one is from Sinclair Lewis, who wrote a book that I'm going to recommend and I want to talk about with you. Mm-hmm. I'll do LBJ first. He goes, give the poorest white man a black man to look down on, and he'll do whatever you say. Hell, he'll empty his pockets for you.
Yeah.
Like, he just needs someone to go, I'm better than.
Well, and also
top.
Yeah, and it ties back to, like, I mean, almost every civilization and society out there. Like, you look at India,
100%.
the
Caste
Untouchables, like the caste system.
Perfect example.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like
that's still ingrained in their society, even though it's been banned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think
it's the same exact thing.
I feel like human beings, the instinct is to always try to look down on somebody to make us feel better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because and that's what it's like a tough thing to get over, and that's why I don't like it. It's not like entirely difficult to understand, and that doesn't drive me insane. But we've come so far, and we've come to that conclusion that we're aware that that's what we kind of are programmed to do, but we're aware that it's bad. And the strength would really come from breaking the hell out of the ladder and making the guy who's at the top fall on his ass. The Sinclair Lewis quote, which is
unless I'm at the top, then don't do that. No, I'm kidding.
But that is the other side of it too.
Yeah.
Temporary embarrassed billionaire. I don't have to do that right now because I'm going to be at the top soon.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do everything.
Yeah.
You're not really going to get there.
Yeah.
The chances of you ever getting out of your station the way things are built right now are so low. Mm-hmm. You're never going to be a Bezos.
Yeah.
The odds, because you know why? Because Bezos doesn't want you to be a Bezos. Yeah. So there's no way to get to it. The quote from Sinclair Lewis was, every man is a king when they have someone to look down upon.
Holy fuck, wow, yeah.
And that really, in the book, because to me it's extremely relevant now. I mean, I read it, when did the hurricane hit? Like a month ago, 2 months ago? Mm-hmm. I had a whole day off because the power went out. And I read the book in one sitting. First time I've ever done that. It was amazing. I did. I killed Great Gatsby. I didn't kill him. I'm not the guy who kills him in the book. I took it out in one day.
The mystery. Fuck.
Conspiracy blown. I killed Jay Gatsby. I knocked that out today, but that's a short book.
You heard it first here in the Dude's Tavern.
I have a horrible attention span, so it was kind of shocking. But I knocked it out in one day, and it's basically the book is called "It Can't Happen Here," and it's about fascism arriving in the United States. And let me tell you, reading this book, it was scary how relevant, on the nose, and accurate that it actually was compared to our current situation. I'm like reading it, and there's times I'm like, oh God, that's a direct parallel to the MAGA hat. Like there's just it's step by step.
Like now, fuck, sorry, the whole MAGA thing, right?
Oh God.
Like I just.
What year is America great? Anybody who says it, what year is America great?
I don't think America has ever been. I mean, we've had points of greatness.
Yeah,
I don't think it's ever been.
Even in the worst times we had.
Yeah, I think America, and you mentioned it's the potential that makes us great.
Yeah,
I think, and touching back the whole MAGA hat, it's so fucking like, it just makes so much sense. And I'm not this doomsday fucking preaching out here. Oh my God, we're all gonna fucking die.
I hope not.
I hope not. But it all ties. Like I just, there's so many like things that I see where like Hitler and Trump, and I'm not saying fucking Trump is a Hitler, but it's like
100% without comparison style.
But that's what I'm saying. Like when Germany was like really in like the wreck.
Yeah, after the Great
Depression. Not me, like the Germans had this like leader who was like, I'm gonna bring it back.
Promised
it's gonna
everything.
be me. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And look what happened. That's what I'm scared of. Not saying that that's gonna happen, but I don't know.
I mean. And it's annoying because like there's like I think it's like Godwin's rule or something. It's like an internet joke. It's like the first person to compare something to Nazis loses the debate because it's the easiest. It's like, oh, he's like a Nazi. It's like, but that's how we get a little bit sticky here because Trump has been acting very fascist because he is a fascist. And I can demonstrate that by explaining his rhetoric, his policies, his just everything. It's like. It's confusing because obviously when you're on the inside, like imagine like Eye of the Storm. You're in the middle of the storm. It's like, oh, it's a beautiful day outside. What's everybody complaining about? When you're outside of the eye of the storm, you're like, oh, it's a hurricane.
Yeah.
The folks that let's be honest here. At this point, if you really are on the Trump train, you got to look at yourself in the mirror and go, why? He is a white supremacist.
Why, bro?
Sexist.
That was a joke. That was a joke.
And if you feel free to look this up on your own accord because it's not my obligation to educate people. Like we're all individuals who need to grow up. And a man waving a magic wand and telling you things are going to go back to this random. Let's be honest. Make America great again means make America great again for white people.
Yeah.
It means
I believe that.
1950. I don't know. There was no way. We didn't have to worry about desegregation. Everything was smooth. Everybody had a car. It was white picket fences. But what they don't show, and like I mean, if you ever took a social studies class, I'm hoping that you saw the pictures.
I'm not trying to stop. Just make sure you're like you're aligned with the mic. Don't, like that. Just because the mic picks up like this.
Sorry, I get so animated when I'm talking about this stuff. I'm gonna hyper focus. The picture, it's like a New Deal era. It's like I forget what the actual thing says, but it's basically like a nice, very suburban looking like white family driving a nice car. Yeah. It's like the American dream. Mm-hmm. What's in front of the billboard?
What?
Black folks lined up for food at a soup kitchen.
Oh, shit.
And that's like this. We've been built on a hierarchical system, and we deny it. Oh, America's the options are open for everybody. There is no. You can get equality in the law, but there's not equity.
Yeah.
Which gives everybody the same resources to get to the same point.
Yeah.
Just because for God's sakes, the Supreme Court invalidated parts of the Voting Rights Act because they said, well, racism's over in the United States. It knocked so many black people off the ballots.
Yeah.
Because the minute they had the chance, jump right back on it. We're in denial if we think that we need to go backwards. That's the worst thing we can do. I know it's like, but we're in COVID and things are hellish right now. Though this is growing pains.
Yeah.
This is necessary.
Yeah.
This is how we come out better.
Yeah.
I hate it's like an Instagram quote. Whatever
doesn't kill you makes you stronger. While I post my booty pic, I'm just gonna put a nice little fucking caption.
No shame. Let people, do what you gotta do on Instagram. I mean, I love showing off my outfits. I'm a sucker.
Oh yeah.
I'll admit, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I'm like, after the election, I'm probably gonna delete every type of social media. It's just no good, and it doesn't do anything for me. Mm-hmm. I'm like, sometimes I just like catching up with friends and family, but like most of the time, it's like, it's really not a need for it. But what were you saying about Instagram?
Well, doesn't make it stronger
Yes. Thank you. I hate that that's what it was. Yeah, so
with a booty pic.
yes. So like we're actually we're at a reckoning point where like a lot of this stuff is finally coming to a head. We can't ignore it. You can't just brush it under the table because then it's just going to come back worse afterwards.
Yeah.
If America can get through fascism at its door, scraping at it, and he's openly, and again, this isn't an opinion. Trump openly said he's going to challenge the election if he doesn't win.
That's scary shit.
That means
but I think there's people there who are gonna back him because again, on the other side, on the right winger side, we are the. I mean, I'm not saying we. What the fuck did I just admit I'm a fucking Democrat? No kidding.
Wait, which side?
I said we. I said we,
now?
as in like at the left. But
Okay.
on the right side, right? It's the same fear factor. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's and I'm not trying to compare like each party, but it's almost like on the right side, the left are the ones who are bringing the doom
because they're told that
to the United States.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, it's almost like the same fear. One person becoming too powerful or one organization becoming too powerful and putting the rest of the people at the bottom, right?
Yeah,
in a way.
And for the record, I hate that this has to be reiterated. Any one person, organization, or group having total power is not a good thing. Ever. Authoritarianism across the board is not a good thing. It kills people. It leads to death. There's a reason we revolted from King George. There's a very real, and this is where it becomes a false equivalency. And because a lot of this is Republicans saying, well, the Democrats are the literal fascists. Last night, when Christopher Wallace asked if they would accept the results of the election, Joe Biden said, yes, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah.
Trump said, no.
Now, to argue against that, not saying
the
that
Democrats
you had
are trying to steal the
exactly.
election.
Now people are gonna say, "Oh, well, we've had 4 years where
he actually
the
claimed
Democrats
that they cooed him last night, which is a very big red flag, and I'll go into that.
Where like the whole
insane.
I'm sure people from the right are gonna say, well, he's just gonna say that
He's doing only what the Democrats do.
well, yeah, because again, there's been 4 years where the Democrats try to get Trump out of office, right?
By legal means, by impeaching him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, I feel like it goes back to the same fear. Right.
But and that's I want to almost phrase like it's a false equivalency by the people who propagate that idea.
Yeah.
But the onus is on the people who buy it hook, line, and sinker. The difference between a coup, which is a person in a democratic country going, the voice of the people doesn't matter, I'm in control now, whether it be a military junta, where they like just the military takes over. Like they just there's no democracy anymore, we're taking over.
Yeah.
Or Trump basically going, no matter what, I'm going to say this is fraudulent, even though there's no evidence that there's any issues with ballots. Mm-hmm. The only issues with ballots, and this is what he tried. This isn't Alex. Just explain a perfect lie that he made last night. It's amazing how easy it is. And I want to preface it with this quote. Keep this in mind when I say this. By the time a lie has traveled halfway across the world, truth is just getting its shoes tied. It is a lot easier to say a lie and let that just dissipate and just enter people's minds than it is for someone to go, hold on, he's lying. Wait, let me get the information. Because that's the same thing with, like I mentioned, Sartre's talk about anti-Semitism. Mm-hmm. They're not arguing in good faith. They're trying to sow doubt.
Doubt.
So Trump's like, look at the ballots in Carolyn Maloney's race in Manhattan. He's like, people are like, a Democratic race. The Democrats are doing it to themselves? Oh my God, voter fraud must be real. The issue with a lot of those ballots being cast out, as the person that affected, he went on Twitter and said Trump's lying. The issue was that the ballots got thrown out because of like mistakes and irregularities. The state was too harsh on voters who either forgot to like mark the affidavit or like didn't fill the bubble well. They didn't get a ballot that was like fraudulent.
Yeah.
The onus in that case is like New York State dropped the ball. Like that's on them for like throwing out ballots. But it's not like they sent ballots that were already marked like for his opponent.
Yeah.
That's what he's claiming. He's claiming that ballots are getting thrown out that have his name on it, which is not true. He's claiming that the Democrats are either like changing votes and putting them in. None of this is true. The FBI, every part of the federal government that are under his authority have said there is no voter fraud. There is none. It's, I think, in total, and like, I don't know if it's American history, it was like 2016.
Yeah.
The actual like what could qualify as voter fraud, which isn't literally like a party trying to change things, was 0.001% of votes.
Jeez, skirt.
Negligible to the furthest extent you could say it.
Yeah.
He is lying about this stuff, and he's trying to sow doubt in the vote because he knows he's not going to win.
Yeah.
There's oh my God, it's like I think,
Yeah, if he knew he was gonna win, he probably wouldn't do the things that he did. I mean,
no.
I'm not saying he wouldn't.
because if he won, then he went, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
No matter what, he wants to sow doubt because I mean, God, if he pulls out a victory somehow, like with he's not going to get the popular vote. If he somehow got an EC vote, guess what he's going to say? No, the election was totally real. They tried to steal it regardless, but we did it, guys.
Yeah.
And he won. He won 2016, and he said 2020. Even though he won in 2016, he said that Hillary Clinton, the 3 million votes that were for Clinton were fake votes, fraudulent, illegals voting.
That's what. Okay, so again, being a middle guy because I don't want to be a sellout and I don't want my podcast and lose followers. No, I'm kidding. But no, you know, I'm like a middle guy. What the fuck was I gonna say?
We're talking about. I mentioned 2016 Clinton.
Yeah. Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. Okay, that. Okay, the thing that pissed me off about Trump is he's always looking for somebody to blame.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's kind of the whole
dude,
shtick.
Like, and me being you know, I try to grow with myself personally, and I read a lot of growth and leadership books, you know, because I'm that scholar. You know, there's so many leadership qualities, and we mentioned this last time we spoke. I think he lacks so many leadership qualities, right? Where that's why I'm also like, it was tipped on my side in terms of who was I going to vote for this when the election comes. Biden showed a lot of leadership in terms of, you know, leaders shouldn't try to divide their people because that's who we are. I mean, I'm not saying we're theirs, but
we're all Americans.
That's what I mean. We are their people. They are who they represent us. Yeah. So technically, we are their people.
They're our employees. They're public servants. They work for us.
Yeah, but what I mean in a world stage, right? That's who the United States represent. Yeah. I mean, that's who they represent, right?
Yeah, they're our rep to the world.
That's what I mean. It's like, dude.
Do you want that guy representing you?
Absolutely not. I don't want that in terms of.
Imagine him talking about like a car with a dealer, screaming at the man. This car has no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That car has 1 million
Yo, dude,
miles.
your fucking impersonation is good. I remember.
You remember? Wait.
Oh my God! Can you please do it? Do it. Fucking do it.
For comedic sake, I will do Trump.
Do it. Yes, because we gotta change the topic.
What should I do Trump doing? I hate that I'm doing this, but I'll do it. It's not a joke. None of this is funny. The man is a fascist and a white supremacist sympathizer.
It's kind of funny though when you do it.
I will say the best way to fight this type of crap is to mock them. So, I mean, I'll do it like that.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't fucking know.
But seriously, vote.
Seriously, no.
Vote. Please vote.
Yeah,
this isn't funny. None of this is funny.
Yeah. I don't know what. I feel like I want to pull something up to make you read. Let's see what I will.
Has to be appropriate. This is a family show.
That's not hell no.
It's TV. Is it G? I don't even know how the.
No, this is like rated R fucking R.
This is scandalous.
I don't know. What do you have in mind?
I feel I should never have done the voice.
You should have. No, I'm gonna fucking start with this shit.
I shouldn't have opened up that gate. I used to do a joke. I did it a few times. The people I've done it to are gonna roll their eyes. Like it's like Trump as if he was a progressive, like a super.
Oh
lefty.
My God! Yes. Can you do that? All right. Do that.
All right.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
This is a joke. Trump is a horrible human being. I'm gonna preface that. This
but
is Trump.
Fucking funny.
This is Trump if he was like a Bernie, like left Democrat. I've never met a woman I've respected more in my entire life than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Her beliefs are my beliefs.
Stop.
I love the Green New Deal. I'm all for socialism. Yay, socialism. Commies everywhere. Red flags. I want there to be celebrate Joseph Stalin Day.
Oh my God.
Every 4th of July. All right, I'm done.
Stop.
I'm done.
That was great.
I hate it.
Round of applause. Okay. One more thing. I
apologize on behalf
of
that.
No, now, hold on. Just one more thing for comedic purposes.
I'm nervous. I don't know why.
Okay.
At the beginning, it wasn't that good. I think I've just done it for 4 years. It kind of shaped up. I could do a few decent ones.
Okay, I'll just pass you I'll just turn the computer around if I can.
You know what? I like this bit, and I'm gonna do it because I do like it.
Okay.
Just do you want me to do the first verse?
The whole fucking song.
I'm not doing the whole song.
Okay. Do
It's insane. Let's get the jokes
do
everywhere
until the
out.
chorus. Where is the chorus?
That's the chorus.
Okay. That's
All
it.
right, I'll do it kind of
So
fast. I won't
from
do super
here,
slow
from
Trump.
there.
That's fine.
No, do Super Trump. They do like fucking Trump 2.0.
All right. Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and I'm homebound. Staring blankly ahead, just making my way, making a way through the crowd. And I need you, and I miss you. And now I wonder if I could fall into the sky. Do you think time would pass me by? 'Cause you know I'd walk 1,000 miles if I could just see you tonight.
Oh my God, Jesus fucking Christ, that was great.
I hope I didn't spike
No,
the
that
mic.
no.
at the
Who
beginning.
cares? Who cares? Jesus Christ, that was so funny. I was really trying to hold it in because I was really laughing
God.
inside. Wow.
You know, I grew up doing I did improv in high school, and I actually just did drama like senior and just senior year. But I've always loved comedy,
Yeah.
and if there's one thing I'm always open. Like I'm running for office, but I'm always myself. I'm never
Yeah.
I'm not prim and proper. Like to me,
Yeah.
that's bull crap. Like
Yeah.
I try to be who I am. I love comedy, and I don't get to do it as often as I used to when I was younger.
Yeah.
Even in college, I tried to do improv, but I wasn't a big fan of the troupe that was available on campus, and I was like, whatever. And I haven't picked anything up since then. And it's been kind of a bummer. I miss that type of stuff.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I remember the first time I heard you do that impersonation. We're playing in Jake's basement, and I was like, dude, what the fuck?
For context, when we were growing up, we were all musicians. Like I sang
Yeah.
very casually. We didn't none of us ever I had a band for a while, and I was doing stuff locally.
yeah.
But I wasn't nothing really serious. But we were in our friend Jake, who I mentioned earlier. He's the friend of mine who I love talking to. We were just in the basement jamming one day.
Yeah.
I think that was the context. We were just
Yeah,
hanging
so
out.
we were jamming out, and we were just making songs with your with your impersonation, and I was fucking dying. So what I did was, and I showed it to a few people because I recorded it. I was like, dude, just close your eyes, and tell me who it is. And nobody said isn't somebody trying to impersonate Trump. It was like, dude, that's Donald Trump. Where'd you get this
God.
this audio from or whatever? You know what I mean? Where'd you get this fun? He's saying things like that. I'm like, dude, that's just my buddy. Dude, you do it so well.
When I was
So well.
I was working
So fucking well.
my old job, I think to pass the time, me and my coworker used to just do it. If there was no one in the store, and it was I think we would just start doing it for fun. And I think I got a lot of practice doing it. But to me, and this is actually true. This is a thing. Combating fascism and this type of stuff is really making them look pathetic. It's showing them for the joke that they are.
Yeah.
So I really don't feel bad doing that because Trump is a joke of a human being.
Yeah.
But there's a power that satire has.
Yeah.
That is just so.
Oh yeah,
great.
absolutely. I fucking
Just
love
mocking-
comedy. I
mocking-
love comedy.
Mocking egotistical people.
That's
too.
what I'm also I feel bad for comedians today.
There's nothing to laugh about because he's the joke.
But no. But what I
It's
mean,
too easy.
no. What I
Yeah.
mean, it's I feel and you could disagree with me or not. I feel especially comedians nowadays, it's so hard for them to produce comedy, because I feel like somebody's gonna say something oh, you're offended me.
But there was
fuck
always
you.
people doing that. Always. It's
I
just
feel like there's more. I
amplified
think it's
now.
more. Yeah, I think it's amplified now. But
And I also think, and I was gonna argue, when you said this, it's not even an argument. I think there's a very real limit of people going, that's not really funny. That's just offensive. There's not even a joke.
yeah, absolutely.
That's just a lazy comedian.
Yeah. But you know what I noticed? I think I was gonna on Hulu, right? I went to watch Everybody Hates Chris, and in the pre-credit or whatever before the show started, it said, "Warning, this show was recorded, blah blah." It just gave a warning of you might be triggered now.
Was it something to do? What was the subject matter of the
No,
episode?
it was just before
Yeah.
every episode started with Everybody
every
Hates.
episode?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
shocked.
No, actually, before the whole season started, actually, it was like it was some I don't know I don't remember the exact wording on it, but it was almost like giving like a warning, like, all right, this show was recorded in a time where things certain things more acceptable than now, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't see that as a bad thing. Like, there's really no negative to that. It's like if someone who maybe like gets, because let's be honest, I know it's like conservatives love gloating about people's issues.
Yeah.
If someone had a really rough incident when they were younger, and there's a thing that could trigger that memory,
yeah, absolutely,
give them a damn warning.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad about that. It's like, hey, this was made, and like, that doesn't even have, like, as you mentioned, what you said was like it's like a timely thing. Like the old Warner Brothers cartoons, which had like blackface.
Yeah.
There's a warning that's like, this crap is really racist, and it's how it was back then. We didn't want to change it because that's censorship, but people should see this because it's horrible.
Yeah.
And so it's better than hiding, because when you hide it, you're never gonna, like, people weren't racist back then. It's like, no, look at this crap.
Yeah.
You need to have that evidence.
Yeah.
To me, there's a very real difference with just being like, this is what the show is talking about. This is heavy topics.
Yeah.
This might be really tough for folks, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's the same. It's literally the same as, I think, as like, this ride may trigger epilepsy if you're epileptic.
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, it's weak people. It's liberals censoring things. They don't want me to be allowed to say like racist stuff. It's like, no.
So now, do you think that's making like a stronger civilization, or you think that's making it weaker?
That is a heavy civilization.
I mean, not culture. I mean, I'm saying culture. What the fuck am I saying? Civilization, like a human fucking race. Where, for example, like, I don't want to argue against it, because I agree with it. Like, people should be warned,
because there's really no net negative.
Yeah. If something's gonna trigger you, if you went through like something in your childhood, and you have the right to be warned about things that you might see that it might trigger you emotionally, right? And the other token is, I believe, and this is just my opinion only, nobody else's. It's not a fucking fact, but it's just my opinion from what I've seen and what I experienced.
Yeah.
I believe there's a lot of people out there who take it over the top, and they're like, well, like, it's almost like, dude.
I think there's people who feel like they can control what other people find acceptable.
Yeah.
Funny enough, it's happened technically both ways. I mean, it's called like morality police.
Yeah.
Conservative-minded, even some Democrats do this. Is like Tipper Gore. This might be an old reference. I mean, you know me, I'm a history nut. Like, but this was somewhat recent history. This is like late 80s. The PMRC, I forget what the hell the acronym stands for. Bunch of like uptight, snooty politicians trying to put warning labels on things like Twisted Sisters music. I don't know if you ever listened, like, We're Not Gonna Take It.
Yeah.
And it was basically just trying to exert control over art. And that's really dangerous. Mm-hmm. That's dangerous. Remember, that's the government doing it. That's where the First Amendment actually comes into play. The government cannot censor free speech. They weren't going to censor stuff, but they were basically putting stickers that said, this music contains references to violence and sex. When in reality, I just watched.
Do they still do that where they like
parental advisory things?
That's what I was saying. Do they still do that? Right?
Yeah. It usually like, this might be a little mature.
Yeah.
There's nothing, in my opinion, really anything wrong with that. In fact, this is usually the joke, is like, that was the album that I bought.
Yeah.
Because that's the album I want to listen to. So hell, put them on. It's gonna get people better music.
Yeah.
But what they were trying to do is basically enforce a set of moralities. When it's an open discussion, society has a right to go, this is kind of messed up. But we kind of have to come to a consensus. But again, false equivalency. It's a lot different than just someone thinking they can be a racist and be horrible.
I mean, there's like a line where you're like, dude, shut the fuck up.
People have every right to go, you're not going to do that without suffering like repercussions.
Yeah.
If you're a business, like Papa John had every right to say the N-word, but guess what it cost him? His job. Because you can't just say that.
Did that go out of, did he?
Oh, Papa John's gonna go out of business, but Papa John, like, I don't know if that's his real name. The guy from the commercials.
John Papa. That's his name.
That's John. John.
Yeah, he's like, wait, I'm trying to think of a business idea, a business name. Papa John.
But
John Papa. Oh, fuck yeah, I got a new name.
He had every right to say that.
Yeah.
But there is a repercussion when you do something that's inherently bad.
Yeah.
And like they're like, oh, it is your right to say that, but we don't have to take it.
Yeah.
To get right back to Twisted Sister, we're not going to take it. you really have to, if you're gonna call it art, it has to have merit.
Yeah.
You really gotta make it worth it. And if people don't like it, people don't like it. You can't control that. That ain't censorship. That's just people going, I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's a really strong difference between like I mentioned Milo, the alt-right gay commentator who was super racist, super transphobic. He got canceled. Guess what? Because it turns out he was doing stuff with underage people. I forget if it was just messaging or whatnot, but the dude turned out to be either a pedophile
Epstein
or
case.
Whatever
Epstein.
the hell you want to label it legally.
Yeah.
He was canceled. But that's a very valid justification to just basically say this guy has no platform rights.
Yeah, absolutely not.
He's a horrible human being.
Okay, so now that's where it kind of I draw the line. Like, for example, and it's just my opinion. I'm not trying to step on anybody's shoes. When the whole idea of if you identify as if I'm a male or a woman, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying it's just guys. If I identify as a woman, am I allowed to go into a woman's bathroom? That's where I'm like, I mean, it's vice versa. It's not just the man doing that; it's the woman also doing the same thing. I'm not saying
the
men
argument on
do
the
that.
other side is like,
you
you got men faking it, and they're gonna go in there and they're gonna do evil things.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, that could happen, and it has, but it's nowhere near enough to go blanket. Transgender people don't exist. They're lying. They're perverts. Like, I don't mean a talking point from right-wing people.
Yeah. I don't mean it like that. Where if you are trans, right? And I'm not saying like every trans needs to have an ID before they walk in the bathroom. Obviously,
that's insane.
Yeah. But what I mean is,
literally crazy.
I feel like.
Also, like my favorite thing, it's like just to diffuse this. You ever been to a gender-neutral bathroom?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Who the hell gives a shit?
Yeah, nobody gives a fuck.
Oh, mind my French. I'm sorry. Oh, I hit the mic.
It's so good. Ah, fuck.
They try to conflate like, because I remember I saw something. It was like, and again, it gets sticky too. It's like if someone like says they're transgender, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like you just go, okay, if they happen to be a criminal while also claiming that, they're a criminal. It really doesn't matter what they identify as.
Yeah.
There was a person who identified as trans. I think they were Canadian.
Yeah.
And they did bad things, and they were penalized for doing it. And they're trying to conflate like, this is insane. It's like, that's just a bad person.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the fact that they're trans.
Yeah.
But they try to again, muddying the water. It all ties back, folks. I'm going to pull out one case where someone pretended to be trans and they went into a bathroom and blah, blah, blah. How the hell do you use it as a justification to full stop?
Yeah. Put like an umbrella over a whole.
To deny people who are so boxed by society.
Yeah.
Who, like, the suicide rates among the community are horrible. They do not get enough assistance and support, specifically folks that are black and trans.
Yeah.
That's why I know you probably saw a lot of, like, Black Trans Lives Matter. Like, people were trying to say, like, this is a huge thing, and this needs to be highlighted, too.
Yeah.
It's scary as to how easy it is. And, like, I've talked to my, like, parents about this, talked to people that are older than us, too. I'm like, our generation had gay marriage.
Yeah.
When we graduated high school, gay marriage had just, I hate that it's a thing. The Supreme Court decided people had a right to be people.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, and I didn't really know anything about what the gay community was. I was raised in Long Island in a very conservative town. It wasn't a lot of people open.
Yeah.
And you're kind of in this box.
Yeah.
And, it's such an easy allegory because it's literally called Allegory of the Cave. You know Plato's Allegory of the Cave? It's basically this idea. There's a cave. 3 men are shackled. And they are facing a wall. And behind them, there's we'd call it like a puppet master. There's like a fire, and they have like these puppets that shine a shadow against the wall, terrifying monsters. And they're terrified of this world. Why? Because all they're seeing is monsters. They're seeing these horrible apparitions in front of them. That's their entire world existence. They're literally forced to look at a wall. This is like the main literary reference point for The Matrix, if that helps. So,
oh yeah, how we were on a simulation.
You're awoken, and your whole life was a lie.
Yeah.
So that wasn't the case for a lot of people. Like, I grew up and I'm like, oh, there's an entire group of people that are just like me in every single way, but there's something that makes them a little bit different. It's the same thing with race. It's the same thing. Like, identifying that fact and celebrating that fact is huge. But we are kind of trained, and this is where it becomes like a very conservative mentality. Conservative does mean to keep things the way that they are. That's what it means.
Yeah, that's the. I mean,
conservatism.
It's conservatism. Yeah.
So it's inherent to be like difference is bad. And that's why we have a lot of these issues. It's never as simple as left and right wing because, trust me, there's transphobia on the left.
Yeah,
there's people who I guarantee are like the most vocal about anything, but there's hypocrites of all shapes and colors and breed. It's whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah.
But when you paint with a broad brush is when you get into a sticky problem.
Mm-hmm.
When you got conservatives saying all trans people are just mentally ill, when it's not. It's been proven that it's not, and they are legit, and it's been a thing that has happened in human history forever. It's been snuffed out purposely because it was seen as evil, illegitimate.
Yeah.
Weimar Republic Germany, there was clubs and the whole art scene where transgender folks were like just accepted, like, and it was just a thing. But we're kind of taught to feel a different way.
Yeah.
And like I think you really got to start shaking people at their shoulders and go, you can't.
You know what I think it is? I think, and it goes back to, I think it goes beyond ideology in terms of
it does.
Being conservative. I think people have like a genuine fear.
Yes.
Of.
Yeah.
For example, like a gay dude hitting on them, because maybe, and I'm just saying,
it is extremely flattering.
But
if you've never had it happen, there's no better compliment.
Yeah, but I feel like, but you know what I think? I think a lot of the like really strong fucking homophobes, like deep down inside, they don't know what the fuck they are
They're
either.
terrified.
They're probably like, maybe I'm a little fucking gay, and a fucking gay guy trying to hit on me. It's
their
like,
brains engineered to go bad.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah.
And it's like a buzzer. It's like a shock collar. It's that's bad.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like them.
Yeah.
And that's how easy it is. It's like a math equation.
Yeah.
But in like that's why I mentioned Allegory of the Cave. We're all put in these, even from birth, like we have to learn things. We're not born with all the knowledge. But there's folks who just don't want to leave. Who are, you could even say like, dude, you're literally chained and you're facing a wall. And there's so much stuff you got to know to understand the whole big mess is what I usually call existence. The whole big mess.
Yeah. We're in a fucking simulation.
I'm not a solopist.
Neo. Where's Neo?
Existentialism is great and all that stuff. But like, how I look at it is, even if it is all fake, you have an obligation to be a decent person while you're here.
Yeah.
And part of that requires you to educate yourself.
Yeah.
Not like, I mean, let's be honest here. Even Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's had like super transphobic people on. And I know
that's why he's my savior.
No, and I'm not saying Joe Rogan is a transphobe. I don't know enough about him to even render that. I really don't know a lot about Joe Rogan.
Oh, you said transphobe, like phobia?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like trans people, like they like trans.
Oh, I don't
people.
know if he did. No,
he's had transphobic. No, never mind. Erase that. I didn't mean to say that. I'm not a transphobic person. I said
he was pro-trans.
Pro-trans. And I did, and then I said Joe Rogan is my savior. No, totally mistake. I apologize.
I don't know where Joe Rand's personally. I think he might have said, like, again, this is an example of me going, I don't know something. I have to do more research on it. I'm not going to wait opinion on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I know that he has had guests on who were transphobic.
Yeah.
And the fear with that type of stuff is like, especially with Joe Rogan because he has such a big audience.
Yeah.
Is if he's not educated on the matter, he's going to like, oh, perfect. I bring back the Joe Rogan quote. What is it? That's entirely possible.
Yeah.
He could go, trans people are mentally ill. That's entirely possible.
But the thing
is not the right
Yeah. But then people will like take it as facts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And they'll be like,
trusted news
I'm like,
source.
oh, fuck, I hate all the fucking trans out there because Joe Rogan said it.
And again, you don't have to like, it's not your goal. And it's not, and I know it's like, what are you going to go ask? Like, it's not on black
Call
people's,
Joe Rogan himself.
It's not black people's job to educate white people.
Yeah.
It's not anybody's job to educate other people. You have to do it yourself.
I mean, I feel that's just the responsibility of being a citizen.
It is literally the only reason life is worth living, to learn new things, to grow.
Yeah.
To not go, this is my life and I like it just the way it is.
Yeah.
Especially when that
fucking
hurts
boomer.
you and other people. You like, everything could be so much better, but we're taught that keep things the way they are.
You know what we should be more like the Native Americans, where we
problematic
like,
because mainly like.
I mean, I've only seen really good things about. I've only seen good things.
Can't really go back to, like,
fucking Apocalypto. You ever seen that movie Apocalypto where they fucking take over?
That movie.
Oh, it's such a good movie.
It's a good like. I gotta rewatch it, but it's also problematic.
I don't mean like the good things of Native Americans, not like we're gonna take over another
holistic approach.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Not like I'm gonna fucking kill you and eat your guts.
I mean, like, and again, like this is just sort of accurate. It's not like this is almost like a weird revisionist history of like portraying Native Americans like just this entirely peaceful, like enlightened. It's like no, they were like any other human being. They waged war on each other.
Yeah,
there was savagery. It was horrible. It was horrible. Human beings are savage people, but we've become so much more refined. Thank you for pushing it.
Yeah.
And like the use of the term savage against Native Americans was very much we're like beyond them. We're like we're more advanced.
Yeah.
No, we're all the same species.
Yeah.
But what you're pulling from is like the I guess it's like a general idea like peaceful living.
That's what I mean.
teepees.
Yeah, like like.
But it was a lot more
sing
complex.
around. Yeah,
like
I mean,
the
yeah, that's true.
Tenochtitlan, I might be pronouncing. I'm so bad with a lot of those pronunciations.
I mean, they're very complex, civilizations.
When the Spaniards got to the capital city of the Aztecs, they were like, they have plumbing? Like, it did not exist in Europe.
Yeah.
Advanced technology.
Yeah.
And the
fucking gunpowder.
they run. Yep,
Fucking
I was gonna say, it's
gunpowder.
stealing gunpowder. That kind of
God
cheated.
fucking
And
damn it.
the intentional genocide
That's why they
through
killed
the
them
use
all.
of smallpox and diseases like that. Yeah, it wasn't like, and I'm
Fucking
hoping that nobody
imperialist
believes
fucks.
this. I've heard some very problematic takes on the conquest of the Americas. It's not like it was an accident. They gave natives blankets covered in smallpox.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it was a genocide.
That
if
is
anybody tries to
fucked.
say it was a genocide, it was a genocide of people.
That is insane.
If I'm right, I might be wrong. I'm going to give a rough estimate, so it's more likely to be right. I don't want to give a false date. But post-Columbian exchange,
yeah.
when Christopher Columbus landed in Hispaniola, the population of Native Americans by the time, I guess, like the United States became existent, it decreased 97%. So, like, the remnants of a people are what still exist.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't like. That's another thing we just haven't grappled with.
Yeah.
That like it's almost like an afterthought. It's like, oh, reservations. Like, what else are we taught about Native Americans in our modern day?
Yeah.
There's states that have a much larger Native American population than New York, but that's part of our history, and that stuff again it gets brushed under. No, it was either it was a savage time.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
savages
yeah,
running
yeah.
around.
Yeah, it's like
and
they
were
try to
murdering,
yeah.
and we civilized them, or
Yeah.
but that's both of those are wrong.
Yeah.
They were humans.
Yeah.
That getting over that wall is so difficult for some people to just go, oh crap. We really
fucked
all
up.
are the same.
We fucked up. We fucked up.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I did? I got a ancestry DNA thing on my birthday, and I'm really looking
Did you do a
forward.
blood test?
No. It's like you spit into a little cup.
I meant a DNA test.
Yeah, DNA
Yeah.
test. So you spit into a little cup and you send it out, and they like take your DNA out, and then they like match it to like, dude, I'm really looking forward because I get that like I look Asian, but I don't have any like Asian. I mean, I'm not saying that I hope I don't. I'm saying I almost said that I hope I don't. No. But like what I mean is, I finally want to know if I really am, because I get it. The people say like you look Filipino, but then a lot of Hispanics do actually look somewhat Filipino. Like
That's because Spain also took over the Philippines, so there's shared blood, technically.
right. So I mean, I want to know if like because I get that a lot. They're like, a lot of times people know that I'm Hispanic, or other people say, "Are you Asian?" No, I'm like, no, I'm Colombian. I'm proud of my heritage. Just kidding. But I'm looking forward to that. See what the fuck I am.
Yeah, and I just
And one more thing before I go, because I've made this a thing in every podcast. I don't know my dad, so I'm also trying to find him. So yeah, because in the match, so this is what happens in the match. They match you with people who took the DNA test,
they're keeping a database.
and then you could like talk to them, like they'll yeah. So like let's see like me and you are connected, and you did the DNA test somehow, and it'll pop up like Dylan Rice is Dylan Rice is related to you. I'm looking forward if maybe my dad out there, Daddy, took the DNA test, and maybe I'll get to meet my dad someday.
Yeah.
What if it's one rich motherfucker?
That'd
be cool.
That's a fantastic reason to do it.
Yeah.
I want to note, because it's funny, my folks just did it. I think my dad just got his results back recently. Those aren't like the best things. Like they're gonna give you a pretty it's like a macro. Like, this is what you probably are.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is find records. Now, a lot of the time, the issue is like, especially Black Americans, the records were destroyed or never kept.
Yeah.
So you don't really have that obligation. That's where it's especially African American and the term Black came from. It's because I'm like Irish American. I know my family came from Ireland.
Yeah.
Africa is a continent.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's not one people. It's a whole. Oh God, it's like. Even before like nation states existed, like just the differences mile to mile with people, culture wise.
Yeah.
So there's not that luxury. Like I consider myself extremely lucky. I most likely have documents that back up where my family's from. DNA and like those type of tests are good to get like that macro.
Yeah.
But it is important to realize like people weren't restricted to borders.
Yeah.
People weren't restricted in the way that they are now. They weren't put in boxes. Like I'm mostly Irish, right? But
Yeah.
obviously I mixed in with Scottish, English, and Wales because they were so close. My dad's
Are you
test,
Scots?
yeah, I'm sure it's same,
Scot,
like
mates.
they were so interconnected throughout history.
Yeah.
But I'm also Spanish, and at one point Spain was taken over by the Moors, the Moorish Empire. So I most likely have some type of, I don't know, Northern African, most likely, but that doesn't mean I'm lacking society standards.
Yeah.
It's just that we've looked at like ancestry and genetics as like a very blocky approach, when in reality we're mixed like hell.
I mean, yeah, we all came from like what, Africa or something like that. We all
Humans
came from
evolved
like
in left Africa and spread
yeah.
out. And then I guess that would have been because for a very, very, very long time that was like proto-human society.
Yeah.
How many years? A lot of years.
Yeah, fucking long time ago.
There's like a giant gap where it's basically like humans left Africa, nothing happened, and then finally civilizations kind of started picking up because we evolved.
Yeah.
But we all have that. We're the same species. That's like the point I was trying to make. We're literally the same species.
Yeah.
Races like literally mostly artificial type stuff or like superficial type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the genetics of all of us is connected. We're human beings. We're Homo sapiens.
Yeah.
We evolved in Africa. We left Africa. We spread out. For a while, that's where we get that really distinct divisions in race and like talking broad term. But then everybody started trading.
Yeah.
Everybody started meeting.
Yeah.
Wars.
Yeah.
Religion spread. And it got very intermixed. And there's surprisingly a lot of homogeneosity. I forget if that's the correct extension of that word, but basically homogeneous societies. Surprisingly still, but still very much mixed.
Yeah.
It's a wrong idea to say like I'm only X when in reality you're kind of a grab bag. Human history is a grab bag.
Yeah. It's a melting pot.
Yeah, and to me it's important to
crazy shit
to find what you are and to like, especially if you're unsure, finding something to identify. That's where like Pan-Africanism comes from, because the whole continent was ravaged and there wasn't a real feeling of connection, especially for American Africans. Because again, there was no records. Where the hell did I come from? How can you have pride when you don't know? So Pan-Africanism is this concept of Africa unified, like the whole culture, and there's a pride in that.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's huge, celebrating that diversity regardless.
Yeah.
So it's a shame.
No, I think instead of being so divisive and but then again, it comes back to the whole point of, it's almost like a human instinct to look down on somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's inherent.
But instead
I think it is also very enforced by society.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Again, it goes back to the whole point of the guy at the top. Moral of the story is, and on closing, moral of the story is, come together as one over me. Dun, dun,
Those are the Beatles. You're gonna get sued now. You know that, right? Apple.
I don't know the copyrights to that song. You know what my buddy did? He came in and he started fucking on my third episode. He came and put a bunch of music. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna be able to publish this fucking thing. Yeah.
Was it his music like he made?
No. Like just random music. I still posted it, so I'm probably
gonna copyright struck. You get copyright struck.
Yeah.
I forget how fair use works with podcasts.
I don't know. No, I'm sure they're pretty. I don't know.
Usually the concept is like if you're using it for comedic purposes, or you get the word. You kind of do something with it. You subvert it. You can use it, but if you're just playing a song, it doesn't count.
Yeah, no, he was playing in the background. I'm like, dude, turn the fucking phone. Because even it wasn't pissing me off that the phone he was playing music. It was pissing me off that it was ruining the sound. I'm like, fucking dude. But we got wasted.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Moral of the story. Any closing statements, Dylan?
I mean, this has been
it's been a long time. 2 hours and 34 minutes. Which part of it was probably cut in half because my other fucking camera. So I'm probably gonna just see what I can work with, and then
Do you post the full thing unedited?
No. I edit some stuff.
Oh, do you have it? But I'm saying you have it as an archive, accessible. So.
Yeah. So I have the unedited version, then I have the edited version.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping because I always find this type of stuff so interesting.
Yeah, I'll send you the full copy. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'll put the two videos together, and then All right, closing statements, man. Anything you want to tell the people out there? Anything you want to know? Anything you want to let them know about your life? I know you're into politics and stuff like that. So what's going on, man?
Abundantly clear. I mean, I'm running for office. I'm running in the 8th
Just make it
district.
really nice and meaty. Just don't grab the mic. Don't fucking break my mic. No, I'm kidding.
What do you think? I'm a novice.
No, I'm kidding. I know. I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
TV production and broadcasting. Thank you.
Yeah, you know more than I do. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
No, I don't know about that at this point. It's been a while. But I mean, everything we talked about today kind of ended up on that one specific goal. Misinformation and disinformation are the reason we're kind of in these holes right now. And I highly advise you really self-educate, you really dive in, you start to kind of get a better bullcrap meter. Like, there's stuff that's so obviously meant to divide, to influence you a certain way. Start really fighting for your common person rather than fighting for the interest of the person who's pitting you against them. And look into what you're like, God, like we said, talk about money. Money's the root of all. Look at where the money is. That's the easiest way to find out. You'll find out where the interests lie.
Yep.
I'm running for office in the 8th Assembly District in New York, the New York State Assembly, and I'm doing so because I'm trying to show that you don't have to abide by the system. You don't have to go, well, politics is evil and politics is bad and I don't have to participate. I'm going, screw that. We need people like us in
Fresh
office.
spin.
We need folks actually fighting for working people who are willing to say, no, I'm not going to just sit here because it benefits me.
Yep.
Like, my goal is to just make this society better for everyone.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, it's sad. You kind of have to say it, but you got to say it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I agree 100% with that. There's no argument point to that. I feel like you need to make the future better for the people that come after you. That's just society.
Wow. Hold on. We don't inherit the world from our parents. We borrow it from our children.
Oh, fuck.
The Native American problem.
Whoa.
And, the whole.
Wait, say that again. Wait, what is it?
We don't inherit the land from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. That's the actual Native American proverb. Yeah. And the whole concept: plant the tree, never expecting to see it grow.
Yeah.
It's this great, glorious journey of human existence is not served best by you looking out for yourself only and kicking the people that you could be helping up down.
Yep.
It doesn't do anybody good, and it's going to hurt you in the long run because the stronger everybody else is, the stronger you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's
absolutely.
It sucks that you got to fight for that idea, but
it does suck.
Yeah.
I mean, I and and now we did closing statements, but I want to bring something up. There is
yes, no, stop.
yeah, it's like fucking 10 hours later. I heard somebody say, what the fuck? I don't know who it was, but he said, if you always focus on I will always be disappointed.
That's good.
Good, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
some
like
good
that.
shit. That's very
Yeah.
but like if you focus on the person in front of you or you care about the person, he said, when you expect you as a person, you expect to be happy, you might not be happy. When you expect people to praise you, they might not praise you. When you expect to be loved, you might not be loved or get love, right? But when you give love, when you give praise, when you give gratitude, when you give just general kindness, nobody can stop you. Nobody's gonna stop me to be kind to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, and that's we said that's what true happiness really lies.
That reminds me of something. One last thing on my end.
Yeah.
Your quote. We're like exchanging quotes. There's a great comedian, satirical songwriter from like the late 50s, early 60s. Tom Lehrer. Tomlehrer.
Is that the guy with a ponytail?
No.
That's the other guy.
He was a math professor at Harvard.
Okay.
Who ended up like writing like comedic songs on piano. He ended up being like a big comedic sensation for like a short period of time. But amazing comedian.
Yeah.
He's introducing a song and he goes, I had a friend of mine who had a great saying and he goes, life is like a sewer. What you get out of it depends on what you put into it.
That's true. And with that, we are closing. Hey, you want Taco Bell? You want something to eat? You want to get a couple of drinks?
What time is it? Is
it's,
anything open?
11:20.
Nothing is open. We're on Long Island. Everything closes at 8.
I tried. No, I'm kidding.
I wanted KFC. I'm not gonna lie. I've been like on a KFC kick for like 3 months now. It's horrible.
Where's KFC?
Kind of heading towards. You know where Flips Gymnastics is, and we're like, I'm trying to think what's over. There's like a CVS. It's like if you drive in on Jericho, going towards Comac. If you like just got off like Smithtown Main Street, you keep going.
I haven't had KFC in that long.
It's very good.
Is it?
I unabashedly.
What?
I like KFC.
Yeah.
I'm trash. I'll admit it. I like it a lot. Dare I say, and this is going to be a controversial opinion, I think it's better than Popeyes, but whatever.
Better than Chick-fil-A?
I try not to go to Chick-fil-A because they're kind of homophobic.
I've
been taking on a boycott. I have had their chicken. It's very good.
It is.
I think KFC hits a specific specific button for me
Yeah.
that is very tough to replicate. It's like the purest, like, Southern fried chicken
Yeah,
type.
yeah.
I'm a sucker for it. It's insane. It's so bad. As someone running for office who should probably be telling you to eat a lot healthier, do not eat at KFC. Like,
Eat all the
fucking
KFC you
if
want.
you want to treat yourself occasionally, that's great. But like, try and eat healthy.
Yeah.
There's much
No,
better
that's
options.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
There's a lot of obesity and not trying to put anybody down.
No, America has an obesity.
That's what I
Sure.
mean. Like we do. There's a lot of our health average or whatever. It's
general,
definitely it's
yeah.
really bad.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That's a great note to end it on.
yeah.
Eat healthy. Eat healthy.
Eat fucking healthy.
It's easy.
All this
Who
it's
would
all about
disagree with
eating
that?
healthy. Yeah, nobody. I don't think so. I don't think anybody. But eat healthy, children and people. This has been the Dude's Tavern, with my buddy Dylan. So Dylan, what is your Instagram or anywhere that you like me to tag you so people could follow you?
For the campaign, if you're interested,
Yes.
because I'm probably going to delete my personal stuff after the election, so it doesn't matter. At Dylan Rice, DYLANRICE, 4 FORNY, New York.
Okay.
NY.
All right. So usually I don't do this. I don't like tag people in the video, but you're a special guest, so I'm gonna do that for you.
Thank you, Raj.
So thank you. No, I mean you're welcome. Anyway,
I slipped
ju-
him a $50 bill on
Yeah.
Nobody's.
so just send it to me like on Instagram because I'm not gonna be able to
No,
remember
it's totally
that.
fine. Yeah.
This has been the Dude's Tavern. Follow me on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, MySpace, Bumble, Tinder.
E-Bombs World.
What is that?
It's like 90 something.
Oh, really? Really?
ARPANET. It was one of the 70s version of the internet.
Follow me on AOL.
AOL, IM, Messenger Chat.
Bro,
AIM.
I actually have one, so follow me on that. At the
You have
Dude's
AIM?
Tavern. You remember that? That's great shit, man. AIM was
Again,
good.
I used to get home from like elementary school and be like, with like the 2 people I had the AIM. Like, oh my god, this is amazing technology.
yeah. AIM. What else?
Oh man, yeah, we're old.
Reddit.
We're old now.
Reddit. Yeah, actually, you could just Google me. Google me at the Dude's Tavern. You could find my YouTube and my Instagram. That's about the only 2. I was bullshitting about the MySpace. I actually don't have one. Yeah, it's surprising, right?
Thank to your audience.
This has been the Dude's Tavern. Dylan, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Sorry for making you work and do all the things.
I did nothing. He's exaggerating. It was like one technical difficulty. It wasn't a problem.
Yeah. All right. Dylan, it's been fun. It's been real. It hasn't been real fun. No, I'm just kidding. See you on the next one. Peace.